We want to get 3. Just the wireless network's just a little fidgety, so it makes it tough.
Park. Today it's Oklahoma Baptist to the Great American Conference and the Gorillas of Pittsburgh State from the MIAA. Hello again, everyone. I'm Todd Miller along with Zach Frazier and our Bison Sports Network crew. Glad to be along with you for the home opener, and it does not come a day too soon. Oklahoma Baptist limping home after an 0-3 start to the conference season, losing 3 games to Arkansas Tech last weekend. But Zach, you had a chance to visit with Chris Cox earlier. We're going to hear that here in just a moment. Chris, not pushing the panic button, nor should anybody in Bison Nation. This is still a team that can pitch, and they certainly can hit.
Absolutely. You feel like you got the sense when you talk to Chris, and you'll hear it when you hear him talk. It's just he's confident. He has guys that have been here before. He's had guys who have had success at this level. It's just a matter about putting together all 3 phases and playing, fielding consistently, pitching consistently, and hitting consistently in the same game and playing a complete game. And he's going to be ready to roll.
These 2 teams have already scored off once. It was in the second game of the year, and both teams have gone in a different direction from that point. OBU obliterated Pittsburgh State 21-4. You can bet anything but that score will happen today in terms of a lopsided victory, you would think, for either side. Since then, Pittsburgh State has won 7 of 9. Oklahoma Baptist, after that 1-1 start, has gone just 2-5, including the 3-game sweep at Arkansas Tech. Pittsburgh State, one of the better teams in the MIAA. They have one of the better coaches among the active coaches in NCAA Division II baseball. Bob Fornelli is in his 5th season, 114-69 at Pittsburgh State. He's actually coached at 3 MIAA schools. Now, Fort Hays, his first Division II coaching job came when they were still in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. He then went to his alma mater, Emporia State, before taking over 5 seasons ago at Pitt State. He is only the 5th coach in the 42-year history of Gorilla Baseball. This year, they are playing 5 different games against teams for the Great American Conference. So far, they're 1-1. They have a 2-1 victory over Southwestern, a 21-4 loss to Oklahoma Baptist. They will host OBU coming up early next month, March 7th in Pittsburg, Kansas, and then go to Russellville, Arkansas on April the 26th to take on Arkansas Tech. Pittsburgh State 6-2 at home. They had a great weekend as they were able to win 3 out of 4 against Regis. They swept Sioux Falls and took split a 2-game series with Metro State University out of Denver. So Pittsburgh State 8-3, Oklahoma Baptist 3-6. Pitching matchup today for the Gorillas. Jordan Duncan will go on the mound for PSU. For OBU, it is Ryan Turbeville. When we return after these messages, we'll hear Zach Frazier's comments with head coach Chris Cox. That's coming up next on the Bison Sports Network.
some level of comfort coming back home for the first time this year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I need to check with the guy that made out the schedule to start the year to send you on the road for the first 3 weeks, and someone needs to talk to that guy. But, definitely excited to get home, play in front of the home fans, in an environment that we're comfortable in. But I think it's been a good test. I like to get teams out on the road early. I think you learn a lot about yourself. When you go on the road, all you got yourself. And so, while we haven't played up to the standard yet that we want to, I think this group, I think we're on the right track and gonna get ready to make a good run for sure.
You mentioned it before we came on that you have a lot of talent that has been around. You have guys that have been there before, done it before, and that can really go to a long way to steady a ship at the beginning when maybe you don't get off to the hot start you want. But you have guys who have produced in those positions, in those situations before. Speak to kind of what the value that brings for maybe some of your younger guys who haven't been there. That these guys that have been there and succeeded and can do it again. What value does that bring for you as a coach?
Yeah, no doubt. The veteran leadership, I think, going into it is something we felt would be one of the strong points that we had as guys that have been through the rigors of a GAC schedule that have experienced some success. And, that's what, we talked to them about on Saturday after the series with Arc Tech. There's no time to press with things. You guys have all been successful and have had success being who you are, and that's all we need to be moving forward is who we are.
And that can be one of the hardest things when you feel like maybe you're putting in the work and you don't see the results immediately, is to kind of stay the course. And that's what you mentioned in the pregame, is that we have guys that have been there and succeeded before, and so it's just a matter of getting back to that standard, getting back to where you need to be. And kind of talking about that Art Tech series we were talking about before we came on, is it doesn't feel like from an outside perspective there's been games where you've been in every game this year. You've had the ability to win every game, and it feels like it's just been a matter of putting all three phases together to win games and stack those wins and kind of become comfortable and having the habit of winning games and being in those situations where the ball bounces your way. What do you think is probably going to be the biggest looking forward to this week where you guys have a 4-game stretch to get to be at home? What are kind of those things that you're looking to get back on track this week at the series against Pitt State or the game against Pitt State on Tuesday and then the series this weekend?
Right. Yeah, you bring up a great point there, and I think it's consistency. Consistency in all three phases. Like you said, obviously, I didn't feel we played well at all weekend over in Russellville. But there in two of them, we gave ourselves an opportunity to win both those games at the end. Come back from a 9 spot in the first inning in game 2 on Saturday to bounce right back and then be right there, and it just couldn't get over the hump. And then, in the last inning of game 3, we give ourselves 2 opportunities to be right there to tie it up or take the lead, and just didn't get it done. But just being more consistent in all 3 phases right now is what's going to be important for us to be successful.
And you talked about the resiliency of this group, right? We talked about even just looking at this series as kind of this past series against Arc Tech as a microcosm of your season. In the face of injury, in the face of maybe a quote-unquote, a slump or whatever the word you want to use is, the guys fight. And you see that, and that's part of the point about earlier, the veteran leadership, but also as a coach, that's got to be encouraging that your guys, regardless of what has happened so far this year and where they're at, they're going to fight until the very end, and you have that, you have that want to and that drive deep down in them.
No doubt. I told the group on Saturday I was proud of their fight and their resiliency. We talked about that this we could look back at this moment and the adversity we're facing right now as a club as a point that changed our direction in the season, and use that to grow off of and to get this thing going in the right direction. So no doubt, been very proud of their resiliency and the adversity they faced and how they faced it head on. So look forward, like I said, getting home this week, starting fresh and getting after Pitt State tomorrow, and then bringing Harding in on the weekend.
Exactly, as you said, Pitt State on Tuesday, Harding this week. A full slate for you guys, a lot of dressing the field and getting ready over and over and over again. We're excited to get you guys back home for the first time this year. We'll be right back on our pregame show on the Bison Sports Network.
The fourth-year head man of Oklahoma Baptist, Chris Cox, heading back to the dugout after his pregame meeting with the three-man umpiring crew today at his counterpart from Pittsburgh State. That is Bob Fornelli. Cloudy skies. It is cooler than anticipated. There is a chance of severe weather overnight here in the Shawnee area. We'll have softball for you tomorrow, a 3 o'clock doubleheader start here with the Bison Sports Network next door at Lady Bison Softball Park as they will welcome in the Newman Jets from Wichita for a pair of games. OBU off to an 11-2 start on the softball diamond. Time now to take a look at today's starting lineups. First of all, for the visitors from Pittsburg, Kansas, the Gorillas of Pitt State. They come in again with a record of 8-3. They've won 7 of their last 9 games. Leading off is the DH, Jake Grauberger. Batting second at first base, Andrew Branson. Hitting third base is Dagan Brady. The cleanup hitter is the shortstop, Cade Clemens. Batting fifth in right field, Ryan Koval. Batting sixth in left field, Braven Lee. Batting seventh in center field, Brett Daly. Hitting eighth and catching, Braden Hinton. And batting ninth at second base, Connor Locks. So again, it's Graubauer, the DH, Branson at first, Brady at third, Clemens at short, Koval in right, and Lee at left. Daly in center, Hinton catching, and Locks at second base. The starters are being introduced for Oklahoma Baptist as they will wear the home white pinstripes, green and white uniforms today. It's the first home game here at Bobby Cox Field in 297 days. The last time OBU played here, they completed a 3-game sweep of St. Nazarene late in the season, April 30th of 2022. Defensively for Oklahoma Baptist, it is the All-American Dan Pruitt at first base. Jaden Schaefer, a newcomer, is at second base. Jose Parga, who missed the series at Arkansas Tech with concussions-like symptoms, is back at shortstop today, and Trey Furry is at third base. Gabe Irwin is at left. Isaiah Lasad, the center fielder. Cade Self in right. Troy Shields is the catcher. And the third of 3 newcomers in the starting lineup for this first midweek game at home this year is Ryan Turbeville. So those are your starting lineups as we get ready for the first pitch here on this Tuesday afternoon. It's Pittsburgh State and Oklahoma Baptist, and we'll throw the first pitch after this on the Bison Sports Network. Freeman So Ryan Turbeville wearing number 13 to the back of his pinstriped white and green uniform. OBU wearing the green and white caps here for the home opener. About to go through his warm-up tosses. Bison at home are 35-13 in 3 years under Chris Cox. Last year, they went 15-6 here in Shawnee. Bison 3-0 all-time against Pitt State. They have played the Gorillas twice in the previous 3 meetings here with the Sooner State. Both were at UCO at Edmond. They won earlier this year 21-4. They won last year at Edmond 10-4 in the first pitch classic and won a slugfest up in Kansas a year ago on the Gorillas home turf 15-14. These two will play the return match coming up March 7th in Gorilla territory. So Ryan Turbeville set to throw his first pitch. This will be his 4th appearance, his 3rd start. His record is 1-2. And Turbeville, who they have high hopes for this year out of the bullpen, off to a rocky start, an earned run average of 5.19. One of the culprits has been strikeouts to walks. He struck out 7, he's walked 4, and he's allowed a lot of hits. He's allowed a total of 12 hits over just 5 1/3 innings, and the league hitting .480 off of Ryan Turbeville. Bison begin this 10th game of the season with an earned run average of 7.42. Opponents hitting .309 off of the OBU staff. Bison have hit 10 home runs through their first 9 games. They're perennially one of the most prolific offensive teams in Division II baseball. Off to a little bit of a slow start, hitting .262 themselves. One of the reasons they were held to a .198 batted average in the 3-game loss at Arkansas Tech. Here we go, Jake Grauberger to lead off, and the first pitch of the home schedule is away. 1 ball, no strikes.
First pitch at 2:01 at a beautiful 69 degrees.
324 team batted average for Pittsburgh State. Entering this one, here is Turbeville's next pitch, and it's hit foul at the third base side. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Graubauer is the DH in today's lineup, hitting .174 through 7 games and 6 starts. He has hit 2 home runs, driven in 3. He has 4 hits, and 3 of those have been for extra bases. In comes the pitch from Turbeville. Fastball high, 2 balls, 1 strike. You might see that Ryan is continually checking his forearm. We'll tell you why here in just a moment. It's new technology. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Hit foul and a late swing up the first base side. It's 2-2. This year, OBU is one of the few teams in the country at really any level that is using the Armilla technology, which means that the pitcher, the catcher, and 2 infielders will have bands on their forearms. Here's the pitch. Downstairs, just missed, and it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Chris Cox, who has been calling the pitches for OBU since 2017, has an iPad in the third base dugout. As the pitch is hit on the ground towards short, Parga has it. Easy play to first, and that's the way the afternoon starts on a ground out 6-3. And so from that iPad, Chris Cox can call the pitches, whether he wants a fastball high, whether he wants one down the middle, outside, inside, a curveball, a slider. And they also, with the middle infielders using those, one will be used by the shortstop, the other is by Dan Pruitt at first base. They can call pickoffs, so they can set defensive alignments. First pitch is a strike, and it's 0-1. The thought behind that is that it speeds up the game just a little bit more, but it also takes some of the gamesmanship out, meaning that there's really not a high chance of signs to be stolen. The pitch downstairs, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Bison, again, one of the few programs, especially at this level, that use that. Now, there's been different ways that pitches have been called over the last couple of years. A soft liner to short, and that's caught off Branson's bat by Parga, and that's out number 2. So you'll see Turbeville going to that risk when there's wrist or that forearm band, and when there's runners on the base pass, you'll see the infielders, Pruitt, and then one of the middle infielders, either Parga or Schaefer, the second baseman, check their forearm. Nobody on, 2 out for Dagan Brady, the third baseman. second of the ball club, hitting .370, and Tuberville's first pitch is in there for a strike. And for a guy, Zach, that has labored early in the season, Ryan has come out very, very sharp.
Well, and to your point about when you think about how he's starting the season, as there's a ball low to the outside for a ball, I think you think about it's kind of settling in. It's a new face and a new place, and there's a lot of anxiety that comes with that performance. And so now he's kind of settled in, gotten a couple opportunities to get his feet wet. Now he's ready to rock and roll.
1 ball, 1 strike. He brings home the pitch. That one drops downstairs, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Ryan, a sophomore, transfer from Murray State College in Tishomingo, hails out of Midlothian, Texas. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Just away with the fastball, 3 balls and 1 strike. Bison coming in have yielded a batted average of .309 against. They have struck out 70, walked 34, so it's nearly a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Here's the pitch. Downstairs and a 2-out walk to Brady keeps the inning alive for Cade Clemens. Cade Clemens making his 10th start, 11th appearance overall. He's hitting .400. A home run, 8 driven in, slugging percentage of .667.
Now batting number 11.
Clemens, like a lot of power hitters, especially in the cleanup spot, as a strikeout candidate. He has struck out 10 times. That's the most on the Pittsburgh State roster. First pitch is a strike, and it's 0-1. Clemens, a junior from Lee's Summit, Missouri, transfer from Wichita State. Right-handed hitter, left-handed pitcher. And Tuberville brings it home, and the fastball the inside corner, no balls, 2 strikes. That was great placement.
Well, exactly. He started off on the outside of the zone, took the strike on the outside of the zone, worked back inside the hands, knowing that he was probably going to get a go signal from the pitching coach, or hitting coach, down the third base line.
Pittsburgh State will run. Their average almost 3 stolen base attempts per game coming in at nearly 2.5 per. Successful swipes. Bouncing ball left side and glove by Parga. Off balance throw to first. Not in time. Had a rainbow that had too much arc, and Clemens will beat it out on an infield single.
Well, and even just getting to that ball and not allowing the second base runner to advance to third was huge there for Parga. Great coverage there. Started a little bit closer to the second base, being able to make the play over the outside third base line.
13th hit for Cade Clemens this season. That brings up Koval. He is hitting .250. This is his 10th start of the season. Gorillas with a 2-out threat against Tuberville. No score here with the first. And the pitch popped up down the right field line, and it's out of play. Last year, OBU had an off year at home. They went 15-6. Back in 2021, they won 13 of 17 here at Bobby Cox Field in Ford Park. Chris Cox has won 35 of 48 home starts here in Shawnee since taking over for his legendary father 4 seasons ago. 1 ball, 1 strike to Ryan Koval, the right fielder.
And to your point, Todd, about the game, speed of the game picking up, you see the pitch clock on the scoreboard. That's a new addition as well.
In comes the pitch. Good swing, fouled it back. They're also, and we'll talk about it in the next half inning, there is a new rule that if the batter is not quickly back and set and ready for the next pitch, it is called a strike. In fact, the Bison scuffled with that last week. They had 9 different batters called for a strike because they weren't in a timely manner. Tuberville comes set, delivers, pitch in the dirt. Good block by Troy Shields, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. I watched a Ouachita Baptist game when we were in Arkadelphia for basketball about 3 weeks ago, and the first time I had seen it called. And it can result in a strikeout. If that happens and there's 2 strikes on a batter, the batter is out. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 out, and here's the pitch. Bouncing ball out to Schaefer at short. He charges. Now he'll field the bag to second for the out, and the inning is over. So a single, a walk, 2 left for Pittsburgh State after a half inning from Shawnee. No score with Oklahoma Baptist coming up next on the Bison Sports Network. school, was a pitcher when his collegiate journey began, as he takes low, 1 ball, no strikes. They quickly flipped him into a position player and a hitter, and this guy's already been drafted once by the Detroit Tigers. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Big swing, no contact, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, to your point, Todd, that's the first time we've seen Duncan start a pitch sequence with an off-speed pitch. You know he had that save for Dan, knowing the context of which this order exists.
Pruitt already has hit 3 of the 10 home runs in his first 9 starts. The pitch is low and away, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. There's not a much better fastball hitter in the conference, maybe in Division II, than Dan Pruitt, and Jordan Duncan knew that. He's having to be very careful. Duncan, as you see, works exclusively from the stretch and brings it home. Fastball high, 3-1. And there was an example. He threw him a fastball, but it was not a hittable one, really.
Well, and you'll see Dan, a lot of these power hitters will chase the first fastball they see, right? They want to get their bat through the zone and find that fastball, but Dan will lay off of it if it's not good.
Has great plate discipline. Here's the pitch. And a called strike in the outside corner. Now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Pruitt last year hit well over 300, but in doing so, he led OBU with 2 out hits and with 2 strike hits. He will strike out, as most power hitters do. Duncan comes set, now brings it home, and a ground ball headed for right, and a 2-out single from Dan Pruitt.
And Dan, one of the best in the conference, like you said, with 2 strikes. And then also, he's not done. When he gets on base pass, he's not done. He's not a power hitter that's just going to advance on hits. He will take bases from you if you're not careful.
Alex Schroeder, who splits time with Troy Shields, is the starting catcher for Oklahoma Baptist. Had a terrific season a year ago. He scuffled a little bit out of the box this year, hitting 179. Big-time power hitter, RBI producer in the middle of the lineup. Here's Duncan's first pitch, and that's hit on a line into center field. Daly is going back, still going back on the run, and he reaches up to make the catch, and the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We've played 1 from Shawnee. Pitt State, Oklahoma Baptist scoreless, and this is OBU Baseball on the Bison Sports Network.
Fans, for all of your food and drink needs, go visit our concessions.
Officially licensed Bison apparel for brands like Adidas, Callaway Golf, Columbia, and Under Armour. Visit shopobubison.com today and take advantage of fast shipping and industry-leading customer service. Shopobubison.com, the official online store of OBU Athletics. Along with Zach Frazier and the Bison Sports Network crew, I'm Todd Miller from Bobby Cox Field in Shawnee. Clouds trying to break overhead, and as the first pitch to Lee is swung and a miss for a strike. Each team with base runners at their first. Each team with a base hit, no score. Here's Tuberville's pitch. That one is fouled off, and it's no balls, 2 strikes.
And I love the fastball outside in the zone, starting with speed away from him, let him see the speed, and then coming back inside on the hands with the off speed, staying low in the zone, forcing him to get his hips through to lift the ball in the air.
Tuberville working quickly, gets the sign, brings it home, downstairs, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Mark Zietler behind home plate today. Andy Udy at first base. Aaron Freeman right now is at the third base umpire spot. No score, top of the second. Single 9-inning game here today between the Gorillas and the Bison. And a little lazy pop-up. That could be trouble. What breeze there is going to hold it up, and Dan Pruitt backpedaling now makes a twist down the first baseline and hauls it in for out number 1.
What a great sequence there by Ryan Turbeville, and just starting low in the zone, working the zone. Hill saw it a couple times and then had to work up into the top of the zone with the fastball, got under it because he's seen so many pitches low in the zone throughout the sequence, got the out.
So 1 up, 1 down. Next hitter is Brett Daly, who swings through a fastball and is behind 0-1. You know, one of the things that bothers me about college baseball, first of all, how quickly they start the season. It's too early. There's a little fister out into shallow left field, backpedaling 1 step as Parkett. He has it for out number 2. 3 weeks into the season, you're playing games that determine what happens in May. It's worse if you're in the Lone Star Conference, as they rarely play a non-league game. They play 4 weekend. They play 4 conference games each week. Here's Turbeville's pitch. Fastball upstairs to Hinton. 1 ball, no strikes. You don't even have pitchers the second week among your starting rotation that go more than 5 innings, and they're having to throw in conference. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. The other is the winter baseball meetings for college baseball are held in January, which means any new rules that are implemented in January, and play starts for the Division II squads. A little slow roller up the middle. Parka with a bounce throw to first, and in time to get hit. And we'll finish that thought when we go to the bottom of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left after 1.5 at Shawnee. Pitt State, OBU scoreless on the Bison Sports Network.
OBU fans, do you want the chance to support OBU student athletes from the convenience of your own mobile device? Text hashtag BAA at OBU to the number 52014 to support BAA student athletes. Donations are fully tax deductible, and every gift makes a difference in the OBU student athlete's life. Again, text hashtag BAA at OBU to the number 52014. For more information, log on to obubison.com.
Lays off with that one, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Cade had a brutal season 2 years ago, but he was really never healthy. Coming into that season, he had a terrific fall, but just scuffled the entire season of 2021, and then last year had a huge breakout year. He's fully healthy. 3 balls and 1 strike.
And Todd, we've talked about it. I don't know that top to bottom that this Bison team has ever been as talented as they are right now. When you think about the field talent and then at the plate as well, the consistency on this lineup is unbelievable.
Here's the 3-1 pitch, and in comes the pitch, laid off of it. And it's ball 4. So the second base runner, but the first to lead off an inning, comes with a walk to Cade Self here in the second. Yeah, that's something that CC talked to me about, Zach, in the fall when I would drop by every now and then was, and I'm not certain this isn't the most talented team we've had. Very deep on the mound. But this has also been a team that has had a lot of problems with injuries the last couple of springs. They have to stay healthy. Here's Trey Furry, the California product, jumps on the first pitch and pops it out of play for a strike. Trey through 9 games, hitting 10 for 32. No home runs, 2 doubles, a triple, and 5 driven in. Trey missed almost all of fall with an injury, but he really has looked good since being able to get back into the batter's cage and then, of course, picking right back up where he left off from his first season here in Shawnee's behind no balls, 2 strikes.
Well, I got a chance to talk to Trey that for a pregame that you'll hear before the Harding series this weekend, and there's no lack of confidence for him and his teammates. Even if they've sputtered at the beginning of the year, they're extremely confident in the talent they have and the opportunity that they have going forward.
I worry about anybody that plays their best baseball 3 weeks into the season in February. That's not when you want to be at your best. And again, there's a lot of arms. Cody Painter, the associate head coach, and Chris Cox, who work in concert with one another. We'll have a lot of sorting to do and work through the pieces before they finally settle on a starting rotation. No balls, 2 strikes. And in comes the pitch, and a little soft liner out into right field. It's down for a base hit, so Trey Furry has the second base hit for the Bison here in this inning. And here's left fielder Gabe Irwin. You know, if you look even at the Division I level, and teams that, we'll take OU for instance, they're off to a 3-3 start. They just dropped 2 of 3 to Cal Baptist and Norman. Skip Johnson doesn't know what he's going to do with his pitching staff yet. He has a ton of new arms. The pitching staff that started last weekend and even this weekend and maybe 3 weeks from now, and I'm talking about OBU again, might be vastly different than the one we see in mid to late April.
And that's a great point, is that you're still learning so much about yourself, and that's exactly what these midweek games are for.
Irwin tried to bunt. Not a real hearty effort as you stuck the bat head out there, you could see, and misses. It snowballs 1 strike. Gabe, 10 for 35. Has a couple of extra base hits and 5 driven in. His number's almost identical to that of the first base runner, Trey Furry, who singled to right. Duncan's pitch. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And you've seen Duncan early in this game start to dive away from the batters. He wants to work the opposite side of the box and force the plays out towards the plate to the opposite side of the field.
There you just saw the replay on Trey Furry's hit. Just a good piece of hitting. Just went through the strike zone with a bat head and served it out into right. 2 balls now and 1 strike to Gabe Irwin. Gabe, one of the many newcomers of this ball club. He's a transfer from NCAA Division I Stephen F. Austin. 6-foot junior, bats and throws left-handed. Occupying one of the corner outfield spots for the Bison. That pitch is away, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike.
Duncan's done a great job fastballs with his slider, working inside the hands of these lefties with the slider, but then also continuing to pound the outside of the zone. Eventually, hopefully, he'll start to hope to dial that in on the outside zone, get a couple strikes.
So Duncan in a hole, 3-1. Let's see if he can extend this at bat. And a fly ball into right field, hit well. Koval going back, didn't get enough of it. He'll make the catch, and the runners will have to hold. And that is out number 1. So Irwin put a charge into it, but not deep enough. And that's out number 1 for the catcher, Troy Shields. Shields is another one of those guys that really scuffled last year, Zach. We talked about it on our broadcast, but he had a terrific fall camp, had a good summer as well. And he is really, really playing well. Second best batted average through his 4 starts of the team, hitting .333. 4 hits, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs. There's the stretch in the pitch. Late swing, and it's out of play on the first base side. No score. OBU's had base runners in each of the first 2 innings. Gorillas had 2 in the first, went 1-2-3 and out against Turbeville, and a fake throw into second.
And we've seen every single at bat this inning. The Bison hitters have had the green light on the first pitch. You'll see Coach Cox over there at third is not afraid to give the green light on the first pitch if these hitters like what they see.
Duncan brings it home and turns over the breaking ball, and it's strike number 2 to Troy Shields. Shields has struck out 5 of his 12 at-bats. OBU has struck out 77 times in 9 games, walked 36. It's a lot what power hitting teams will do. Looking for a one-out hit in the pitch. Swing and a miss. Got him with an off speed away. And that is a huge strikeout for Jordan Duncan at start. And now it's up to Jose Parga. Jose Parga playing in just his 5th game. Missed all 3 games of the league opening series in Russellville last week. He did face Pitt State earlier the year. Had a base hit against the Gorillas. That's his only hit in 8 at-bats. Hitting 125 as Parga on the season. Looking for a 2-out hit. OBU last year at times really scuffled in 2-out hits. Duncan's first pitch, fastball high, 1 ball, no strikes.
And you mentioned Troy and the value he brings to this Bison lineup. What it allows it to do is it allows you to slide Alex Schroeder into that DH position and have potent hitters all the way down the lineup because Troy can put the bat on the ball at the best of them.
1 ball, no strikes. Runner at second, Self. Runner at first, Trey Furry with 2 outs. And the pitch. Liner up the right field side and tailing fair. It hit the chalk line. That's going to score a run. Digging for third is Furry. He's going to come home standing, and Parga makes the wide turn at second as the throw comes in behind him. And it's 2-0 Oklahoma Baptist. That ball was trying to slice foul, Zach, and it just did hit fair.
And we've seen the wind over there affect a couple balls early in this game. You remember the fly ball that Dan was able to get because the wind kept it inside? That's exactly what happened. The wind pushed it just enough for it to land on the chalk line and run.
See if we can get another look at that one as to how close it really was. That thing looked like it almost hit the chalk line. Here's the top of the order with Isaiah Lasad. 2-0 Oklahoma Baptist over the Gorillas. And Duncan's pitch is upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. The new rule involving batters, if they do not enter the batter's box, become alert to the pitcher within 10 seconds remaining, the batter will have committed a violation, and the umpire then can award a strike. Liner into center field and right at Daly to end the inning. A walk, 2 hits, produce a pair of runs. We go to the 3rd in Shawnee. It's 2-0 Oklahoma Baptist on the Bison Sports Network.
No errors and 1 left on base.
On for the second time this season for Pittsburgh State is Parker Tittle, 6'3", 210-pound sophomore right-hander from Corpus Christi, Texas, at a transfer from fellow Division II institution Angelo State. Parker Tittle earned run average 5.14. This is his second appearance. He has worked 7 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned with 7 walks, and 6 strikeouts. His batting average against is .280. So the book is closed on the starter Jordan Duncan. 2 innings, he gives up 2 runs. He does it on 3 hits. 1 walk and 1 strikeout for Jordan Duncan. So Tittle will face Jaden Schaefer, Dan Pruitt, Alex Schroeder, here with this 3rd inning.
And we do have action in the bullpen for Oklahoma Baptist. Looks like Garrett Kellogg-Clark's warming up out there. You love to see the multiple bodies coming through on the mound during these midweek series.
Jaden Schaefer grounded out first to pitcher. Jumps on that pitch, grounds it up the middle and into center field for a leadoff single. So Tittle, who has been apt to give up a lot of hits, in 1 inning now has given up his 8th hit, and it's a leadoff base runner for the 2nd straight inning for the Bison.
And you want to jump on these new pitchers as soon as you can. Don't let them get comfortable. They only get a limited number of pitches on the mound. Jump on them and force them to throw strikes.
Dan Pruitt had a single back in the 1st inning. And he takes a strike here, 0-1. That's the good thing about midweek baseball. When you have a deep pitching staff, you're able to use arms that you might not normally use in conference series. And that was a problem. Really, the last couple of years, they didn't have as many midweek games. Pitch in the dirt, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Whether it be the COVID season, whether it be weather problems. And when you have a lot of arms, sometimes if you don't play midweek games, they just tend to rot over there on the bench. And then when they are forced into duty, they've lost a lot of their sharpness and focus. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here is Tittle's pitch. Downstairs, 2-1 the count.
Well, and to your point about these midweek series, a lot of it is just reps. It's having confidence in your stuff, knowing where your fastball is going to end up, knowing you can work the corners of the zone, and what your off speed is going to look like. It's just being able to do it.
Tittle, 1 hit, 3 earned runs, 3 walks against Sioux Falls in Pittsburgh last weekend. Threw to first, nothing doing. Bison are not normally a real aggressive base running team in terms of stolen bases. They're 4 of 8 to start this year. Fastball inside, advantage to Pruitt, 3 balls and 1 strike. They are a gap-to-gap, big fly design team. They are built for this ballpark. And when the wind howls out of the south to the southwest, it is known as a Bison wind. Don't necessarily have that today, only about 12 to 13 miles per hour. In tight, and Pruitt is aboard for the 2nd time with a walk.
And if you haven't watched a lot of Bison baseball in the past couple of years, you're going to see this become a common theme. A lot of pitchers will take a walk against Dan because they don't want to put a fastball in the zone that they feel like he can turn on and give the Bison fans something to look out in left center field.
Alex Schroeder.
Believe it or not, that's the first walk that Dan Pruitt has been issued this season. And they really were never close on all but the 1 strike that Tittle threw to Pruitt on that at bat. Here is Alex Schroeder. First pitch is downstairs, 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, you have to wonder if that's not something in the back of Tittle's mind, too, is that he understands, he watched it happen. That's a short leash today. You're against a dangerous ball club, and you may not have as much of a big of a leash in a midweek game.
1-0 the count to Alex. Off to a slow start, but expected to have a big year. Here's the pitch. Hit deep down the line and left, but was out in front of it and yanks it foul. So the count evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike. There you see the swing. It was just a matter of timing it, Zach, but the ball just jumps off the bat of Schroeder.
Well, and it speaks to his confidence. You knew he had the green light there. He just wanted to get on that fastball. He knew the pitch. The talent is there. He just kind of pulled himself out of a little sputter.
1 ball, 1 strike, and the pitch from Tunnel. Popped up, left field. curling towards foul territory, in foul ground, and making a catch near the bullpen wall is Lee, and the runners will not be able to advance. So it's a long, loud foul out for Alex Schroeder, and that is out number one as Cade Self will come to the plate. Self led the two-run second off against the starter Jordan Duncan by drawing a walk in 5 pitches.
Well, and that's development from Cade, right? Because when Cade started here, it was, man, he was going to swing the bat and he was going to swing it aggressively. But now, we're starting to see these mature characteristics of taking pitches and getting walks.
Can't swing out of his shoes like he used to. That's a delay of game now. Here's the first pitch. Off speed, swung and a miss for a strike. He would literally swing out of his shoes and then have to put them back on. And, of course, that would be a strike today. Just joking.
I didn't deserve the laugh I gave.
He has really, really developed into a fine player. No surprise, he had aspirations of playing at the Division I level. A little tapper foul up the third base side. No balls at 2 strikes. Cade Self was part of the powerhouse Shawnee High School Wolves baseball programs here in Potawatomi County. Went to Cali, then went the Division I route. Never was able to play there because he made the transfer during the 2020 season during COVID. Decided he wanted to come home and came home and is now at Bison, and we're certainly glad to have him. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Liner into right field. And Self was aboard for the second time. They're going to put the stop sign up now on Jaden Schaefer as the throw comes home and the bases are loaded with 1 out for Trey Furry. Sometimes you can hit Zach a ball a little too well, and that's exactly what Self did. He hit that right on the line to the right fielder, Koval, who had a good shot to make the throw in time at home had Schaefer challenged him.
Exactly. You're exactly right, and that's the hard part about this ballpark is it's not a super deep ballpark, so these fielders are going to have a lot of leeway in the outfield to make plays maybe they wouldn't make.
They are shifted around towards left field for Trey Furry, who swats the first pitch out of play for a strike. Trey had his first hit of the afternoon, his 11th of the year. That ties him briefly with Cade Self, who now has 12 with that single here in the third. OBU with the bases loaded, 1 out jam for Pittsburgh right-hander Parker Tittle. And Tittle's pitch off the glove of the pitcher out to short, and that'll score a run. Coming in and charging is Clemens, the throw to first in time as Schaefer scores, and the runners move up to second and third with 2 outs. And Furry will be granted an RBI, and that'll be his 6th run batted in.
Well, and Tittle actually got his glove on that ball when it shot back to him off the bat of Furry. So when the shortstop came over to make the play, Clemens wasn't able to make a clean play to turn 2, and so it actually saved an out for the Bison.
Here is Gabe Irwin, who flew out to right field his first time up. That was to close the OBU second. You see the score in the top left-hand corner of your screen, 3-0, good guys, and the pitch taken for a strike. OBU, through 9 games and a 3-6 start, has stranded 66. Here's a wild pitch, and coming home to score is Dan Pruitt to make it 4-0.
Well, that's the second time we've seen Tittle start with the off-speed and then try to work the fastball off of it. And that time the fastball, trying to keep it low in the zone to allow to keep from a deep fly ball, went too low and the catcher wouldn't be able to handle it.
You know, this is a really big midweek game in a lot of ways. We told you the importance of playing midweek games, but 2 quality opponents in the same region doing battle on a Tuesday afternoon. Here is the 1-1 pitch. Misses away, 2 balls and 1 strike. Both of these teams are expected to contend for conference titles. Both will have a chance to be in the NCAA Central Region Tournament at season's end. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swatted foul, left field side, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Therefore, even if it is a February and a March matchup, well, you're able to get quality in-region wins. Those help your cause towards May and possible NCAA tournament. 2-2 pitch. Lined into center field. On the run is Daly. Will he get there? Yes, he will. And that denies Gabe Irwin a 2-out RBI hit, but the Bison tack 2 more on. They do it on a pair of singles, a walk, a wild pitch. And we go to the 4th in Shawnee. It's 4-0 Oklahoma Baptist on the Bison Sports Network and KGFF. Ready?
Yeah, let's go.
To you. Back here at Bobby Cox Field and Ford Park. Today's starter, Ryan Turbeville, exits the ball game after 3 innings and a 4-0 lead. He will not be eligible for the victory, but Garrett Kellogg Clark, Tex, comes in out of the bullpen. He's been throwing exceptionally well here in the early stages of the season. For Tex, this is his 4th appearance, 5 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs earned, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. 375 earned run average, or 375 batted average, and earned run average of make that 6.75. Take me away, partner. We'll let you have the next couple of innings.
Well, Todd, now that you mentioned it, Garrett Clark is on the bump, the senior from Cypress, Texas. We're excited for him to get, like you said, we talked about it earlier in the broadcast. These midweek series are really crucial for the development, especially in the depth of your bullpen. When you get in these thick series, the conference series, you need bodies and you need arms late in the year. These midweek series can prove extremely valuable for those pitchers going forward.
Garrett in his last outing at Arkansas Tech, 3 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts, and a walk. Garrett has struck out at least 1 opposing batter in each of his first 3 starts. See what Big Tex can do here.
Clark again, another pitcher that will work exclusively from the stretch. Starting with the fastball high in the zone for ball 1. And Todd, I think another part about this Bison lineup that we've noticed is it kind of truly shows you the value of Division II baseball and competing at this level. Because there's a ton of talent from the Division I level, as we see Clark give a fastball outside in the zone, miss outside, that doesn't get a chance at that level. And so they come down here and you see the talent shine through when they get the opportunity. The 2-0 pitch coming here to Dagan Brady. Clark starting off early with 2 fastballs outside in the zone, trying to watch him work back inside to the hands here. As there's an off speed in the middle of the plate for strike 1 to Dagan Brady.
Tell you what this transfer rule has done, though, it has really made deep pitching staffs at the Division II level somewhat rare because so many arms now are being taken through the transfer portal by the bigger schools.
Exactly. There's another slider moving away from Dagan outside in the zone, and that's what you're going to see from Garrett, right? Garrett's going to try to work the outside of that zone and then come back into the bottom part of the zone with the off speed, and that's kind of the pitch sequence you're going to see for him throughout this year. The delivery, again, low in the zone with the off-speed pitch, and that's exactly what we talked about, Todd. When we talk about these transfer rules, there's no it's rare to see talent stay in the same place if they don't get the opportunity they want at the beginning of their career. The 3-2 pitch to Brady here coming in, as it's going to be missed inside, and that's going to be the first walk for the first batter that Garrett's faced today. And I think one of the things that makes Garrett really special, when you've watched him, we've got the pleasure to watch him for a couple of years now, Todd, is you'll see he doesn't get faced in the face of, whatever adversity he faces. This is not something that's going to rattle him. He's been here before. He's performed at this level.
Love to see something hit right on the ground at the infield here, leading 4-0 in the 4th. You don't like those leadoff walks, though.
Well, and that's you're going to see. You saw Garrett touch 90 right there on the pitch speed clock on the scoreboard. He's going to throw the ball, and he's going to deliver strikes in a consistent manner, as you're going to see a baseball swap here for Garrett. And one of the things, Todd, when we talk about the landscape of college baseball changing, transfers have always been, JUCO has always been a large part of the college baseball landscape. But what we haven't seen is we haven't seen inter school transferring even within the same conference. There's been a lot of change between the conferences here as you see the ball get delivered to Clemens, the shortstop, and so it's going to be a 1-1 count. Runner on first. Clark deals the fastball low in the zone. And Clark's going to consistently sit around that 89, 88, 90 mark. And, Todd, that's a really great fastball for this level of college
He's got
baseball.
a Division I arm. Out of high school, he went to Nevada Reno and transferred from UNR here to Oklahoma Baptist. So he knows how to throw.
And there's another strike high in the zone. That's going to retire Clemens, and you saw the pick off to first. Not quite catch Brady. Brady's had a strong lead over at first the whole entire bat, trying to entice Garrett to throw over. But Garrett not phased. As I mentioned, he has been here before. He's been in these situations, and that's not something that you're going to really get him with that eye candy.
First strikeout of the afternoon for Bison pitching. Their 71st now comes here in the top of the fourth.
And the first pitch to Koval is off speed, down inside in the zone. And we love to see that. When Garrett's at his best, he's going to be working inside to out in the zone, staying low, throwing a couple balls, trying to get these hitters from Pitt State to take chances on balls in the off speed especially. Clark deals high outside fastball, missing outside high right. And Todd, to go back to our conversation, what I think makes Coach Cox so special is he's able to retain talent even if they maybe don't have the role that they could find somewhere else. And that's what's helped build this dynasty we've seen at OBU baseball over the years. As there's a deep fly ball hitting the right center field, tracking back at the warning track, was able to get a hand on it and catch it. Cade Self, I believe, is out there and right.
Everybody clap your hands.
And Cade able to make the play, and not only make the play, but hold Reagan Brady at first.
Now batting, number 12.
And that's going to retire Koval, and that's going to bring the left fielder, number 12, Brevin Lee, to the plate, who's 0-1 on the day. Clark going to pick off at first. It's a great throw, doesn't get him. Brady's been really, really edgy. You feel like he's trying to take that base. I don't know if he'll run the risk of taking the base now with 2 outs, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him move here.
Well, Garrett, opponents have had success running on Garrett Kellogg Clark. They're 3 of 3 this year. This is a Pitt State team that likes to run, entering play today 24 of 28.
And I do know, I mean, Troy's back there. He's itching. You can see him. His stance is bouncing a little bit. He's itching for one of these runners to take a chance. He's already thrown down once to first. He wants a runner to take a chance, especially up 0-1 in the count. Off-speed, beautiful off-speed pitch, breaking ball throwing into the right-hand corner of the zone. And what a great sequence we've seen from Garrett after walking the first batter, Todd, to get right back on the reins and retire 2 straight.
Really seems to be settling into a rhythm. That's as much a part of pitching as anything. The middle part and the rhythm part of it. He's in rhythm right now.
And there's another pickoff attempt over. I think it's more so not necessarily to get Reagan, but I think it's also just to keep him there, to keep him where he's at, not allow him to get a bigger lead. And that's part of the gamesmanship that, you know, we're kind of starting to see disintegrate away from the game as these new rules of kind of getting brought into place. He kicks and deals. Inside fastball, and that is another strikeout for Garrett as he retires 3 straight after walking the first for the Bison. No runs, 1 left on base for Garrett Kellogg Clark. We will be right back for the bottom of the 4th inning here at Bobby Cox Field at Ford Park on the Bison Sports Network. Welcome back to the bottom of the 4th inning here at Bison
At the plate for the Bison, number 33,
Hill and Bobby Cox Field here at Ford Park. Troy Shields up at the plate for the Bison, who so far in this game is 0-1. Where, Todd, we talked about it, the value he's added when he's playing consistent baseball so far this year has been unbelievable. As he hits a liner that gets rolled just foul, down the third base line, sitting on an off-speed pitch and got around a little too early. That's the value of the off-speed, is you're going to pull some of those hitters into the zone early and force them to hang back and hit those foul balls on down the third base line for a righty. Troy down in the count, 0-2, protecting the plate with the off-speed pitch coming. He's going to battle that off on the right-hand side of your screen down the first base line. And Troy, and you'll see this a lot through this whole entire Bison lineup, is going to protect the plate. And because they're aggressive in the early parts of the counts, Coach Cox has made it a point where if you're going to be aggressive, that's fine, but you have to be able to protect the plate in the back end of these long at-bats. And as you saw, a fastball get tossed really high in the zone, the umpire just ducked down. He didn't even try to move out of the way. And the pace of play in this game is going to force these new pitchers to really settle in really quickly, because you can't kind of stand on the mound and kick dirt around. You have 20 seconds in between your pitches that you have to address. You have to get the sign. If you don't use any new technology, you're getting the signal and you're going to give it to the pitcher within that 20-second count. And it's really forcing these pitchers to establish a rhythm, which I think in the long run, as Troy takes a strike inside and tries to take a cut at it, and that will retire Troy Shields, and that's going to bring Jose Parga to the plate. Jose has made a plethora of plays already in this game. He had the RBIs that brought home the 2 runs earlier in the game, and also a great leap and catch over there. It's short, and he's been one of these Bison. He's been battling some injuries so far this year as he takes an off-speed pitch outside down in the zone for ball 1. But as he continues to get healthy and this Bison team continues to catch their stride, I really look forward to the success this team's going to have, especially settling in at the plate later on this year. Jose taking the swing. It actually hit his ankles, and that's why you'll see it get blown dead. He liked the pitch. It was some sort of off-speed pitch on the inside of the hands, and he had it scouted and waited on it and just hit it a little bit high on the ball and just knocked it off his ankle. He actually didn't even see him wince even a little bit for how hard that hit his ankle. Again, waiting on the off-speed pitch, and he throws it, kicks it straight back for the easy out at first. Tunnel actually made a great play on that ball. That's the second time he's got his glove on one of those high return hits right back to his face, and he's got his glove on it for his own put out, as you saw earlier. Almost cost his team a double play. Not intentionally, of course, but just kind of the way it happened. Isaiah Lasad comes back up to the plate, and he is going to take on a check swing. It looks like a ball off speed outside in the zone. Isaiah coming to the plate for the 3rd time today, 0-2 on the day. 2 outs. The delivery from Tunnel is going to be high. And one of the things we've seen from Tunnel so far is he's going to try to establish his fastball early in the count. He's going to throw off speed off of it low in the zone, and he's going to throw that fastball either inside on the hands or high in the zone. As we see a strike there, a fastball down the bottom part of the zone for a called strike, 2-1 to Lasad. Lasad ripping down the third base line. Fantastic play by Dagan Brady over at first, third over, and then makes the throw over to first, for the put out. So it's 3 up, 3 down for the Bison in the bottom of the 4th inning. We'll go to the top of the 1st here in Bison Sports Network.
Pittsburgh 0.
You just saw the replay there from Tunnel and how he was able to get his hands on that ball and then make the play over to first. And that's the 2nd time he's shown great reaction time up there on the bump for the Gorillas. And we're going to see Garrett Kellogg Clark for the 2nd inning in a row. And it does look like that there's some activity back there in the bullpen. My eyesight's not good enough to be able to tell you who it is, but it would not surprise me if we see a couple inning shifts from these pitchers as we continue throughout this midweek game, especially if we continue to see this commanding lead for the Bison. That right now 4-0 going into the top of the 5th inning. And I would be surprised to see, not if we didn't see multiple pitchers coming in and out of the rotation for the Bison to continue to save these arms, but also give good looks. So when we go into series like this weekend against Harding, we'll have the valuable mound time that they need to be able to participate in these series and do it effectively. Brett Daly at the plate for Pitt State. A 90-mile-an-hour fastball take for ball 1 for Brett. Brett's 0-1 on the day so far with a walk. Kellogg deals inside fastball, strike 1 on a swing, foul tip back. Takes the count to 1-1 on what has turned out to be a really beautiful day here at Bobby Cox Field. As Kellogg deals on the inside, bunt laid down by Daly, doesn't quite catch it clean, foul tip off the left-hand side of the screen over to the Bison dugout. Is Trey Furry tried to come down, was ready to make the play if that bunt got laid down on the third base side. As we've gotten confirmation from Clayton Kaufman, one of our communications staffers, is it's Logan Kimbrough in the bullpen. As there's a little tough catch made by Jaden Schaefer over there at second base. It was a little kind of awkward knockdown pop out there to second base, kind of right behind where Dan Pruitt's at over there at the first base line, and he kind of caught it at the belt with kind of both hands the way it worked out. It was just a really athletic play, just kind of a natural play there from Jaden. And that's going to bring Braden Hinton into the box. The catcher, Pitt State 0-1 again on the day. Kellogg's going to deal another fastball inside. He's going to catch him. And that's going to be a walk, hit by pitch for Hinton. And he's going to get on after wearing that ball on the left elbow, it looks like. And he's, as you would be after getting hit by a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, he's looking at his elbow a little bit. And that's never a good time. He's going to take his helmet off and kind of try to walk that one off. That's a tough spot to wear a pitch right there on that funny bone. And I don't think either of them wanted to wear that pitch where he did. As you see the play made by Jaden Schaefer here on the screen, it looks like he kind of misjudged it a little bit, wanted to take it up high. You see him smiling as he makes the catch, kind of taking it down to waist level after under pursuing the ball a little bit. And that's going to bring Connor Locks to the plate as he takes a strike 1 off-speed pitch in the zone. What a beautiful pitch to start this sequence from Garrett. And I think as we continue to see Garrett work, there's a calmness and a steadiness in his presence on the bump that has been noticeable since he stepped on the mound. As there's a fastball swing outside in the zone running away from, maybe looked like a slider running away from Locks there. And even in the face, like just immediately getting back on the saddle. We talked about it earlier in the broadcast of being able to get immediately back on the saddle and get the reins and get back control of this ballgame after hitting a batter. Speaks a lot to the characters. There's a beautiful sequence for a strikeout there. Clark with his 3rd strikeout in his 2nd inning of work right now, who is absolutely showing a lot of resiliency. And that's the 2nd time we've seen him after maybe sputtering with the first batter he's faced in a lineup or a batter he's faced, immediately striking back and getting a strikeout or a putout with the next batter in the lineup. As Jake Grauberger is going to come to the plate, who's 0 for 2 on the day. As there's an off-speed pitch low in the zone that'll miss low for ball 1. Hinton on first, Grauberger at the plate. Kellogg deals inside fastball down the middle of the zone. Looks like the ball's going right to the first base line, and it is going to go foul. Pruitt's not going to be able to track it down. As we've seen a lot of consistency from this Bison bullpen so far today, and the Pitt State Gorillas really haven't been able to get started at the plate to be able to start to grow some momentum And they left runners stranded on almost every top half of the inning they've had so far today. There's an off-speed pitch left high in the zone. The Grauberger is going to take out to center field. Lasad is there. Isaiah being able to walk in and make the play comfortably with the ball that hits him in the logo in the middle of his chest. And so there's no errors through the top of the 5th inning for the Bison. One left on first. Hinton was left on first after being hit by Garrett Kellogg-Clark, but then retires 2 in a row immediately after that. We will see the Bison order back in the bottom of the 5th inning on the Bison Sports Network. Tindall's day is over after just about 2 innings of work. 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 walk and a strikeout for Tindall. And Harold Baez will be the pitcher for the Gorillas here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Coming into the day, a 10.38 ERA in 3 appearances, 4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 8 runs, 1 walk and 2 strikeouts to his name, giving up an average of 364 in hitters against Baez this year. And I think we talked about it earlier, Todd. It's not necessarily an indictment on performance for these pitchers that you'll see, like as you'll see here with Garrett. Garrett absolutely throws a great ball here, and it's going to turn out, beautifully for Isaiah Lasad, who's tracking in on that ball. We've talked about it a little bit off air. It's almost like the cloud cover is causing some issues for tracking these balls in the air for some of these guys that we've seen them maybe overrun, or this a little awkward from what you would be normally seeing, as we saw in the replay there, that Lasad either, just to add some flair, maybe he overran it a little bit, jumps up to get that ball in a comfortable spot for him. As we see Jaden Schaefer come to the box for the Bison, the lefty takes a cut, lifts it into right field, drops down for a single in front. Koval out there in right field, and that's going to put Jaden Schaefer on board to start the Bison here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And that's going to bring Dan Pruitt to the plate.
Now batting first base.
Dan, as Todd mentioned, the DBU transfer, started his career on the bump, made the transition to a position player, and really hasn't looked back since. An All-American this past year, and is looking to repeat the preseason All-American again this year. Is he's going to step into the box looking for an opportunity to let that barrel go through the zone as he takes a strike. Fastball for strike 1. Baez deals off speed, looks maybe a curveball that misses a little bit outside in the zone. As you're seeing Schaefer swing to lift that single into the right-hand side of your screen to right field, and kind of drops down comfortably. Just a great hit. Maybe hit it a little too well. Maybe could have turned it extra bases if it was a little bit more down the center field, towards center field. But you will always take a single when that opportunity arises. And so Dan Pruitt is going to take another off-speed pitch for 2 balls and 1 strike advantage over Baez. Pruitt 1 for 1 on the day with 2 appearances, now making his 3rd at the plate against his 3rd pitcher of the day. As he takes another fastball inside in the zone, looked like a 2-seam working inside on the hands. Looks like he clipped it. It was waved off as if it was a foul tip. So there was maybe some sound down there that the umpire could hear that we couldn't. And that's going to bring to a 2-2 count. Baez checks over at first to keep Schaefer at bay. Checks on the sign, delivers. And Dan was trying to do a check swing there and accidentally hit the ball on accident. And, you know, that may speak to some of the talent that dude has, is he hits the ball even when he doesn't want to. And so is a microcosm of the success he's had in the box in his career here on Bison Hill. You know, I can't hit the ball when I want to, and he can hit it when he doesn't. So there's a reason he's where he is and I'm where I am. So Dan Pruitt now 2-2, takes a swing, delivers it down the first base line, chasing towards the dugout is Branson. He's going to look at it and let it go foul. And you'll see this with Dan a lot, is Dan's going to fight at the plate, and you'll see this up and down this Bison lineup over the course of this year. The amount of long at-bats, there will be battles at the plate here in this stadium because these hitters are so good about protecting the plate. If there's something they feel like, you'll see them shorten down that swing and just protect the plate and keep the plate clean of any damage coming through. Again, it's a perfect example. A 90-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle, and he's kind of got that choke down swing. You usually see his hands high on that shoulder, but when it gets down into this kind of tense pitching schedule where they're trying to force pitches in and trying to just get a put out, he's going to drop those hands to his hips, and he's going to let that bat go through the zone quickly and just protect the plate. Baez checks over at first on Schaefer. Likes the sign, delivers inside. Pruitt's going to get a bat on it and just unbelievably put the ball through in between the shortstop and the third baseman over there. Clemens was he was shaded the second, trying to play for the double play. Wasn't going to be able to get over there. It was just a great place hit there from Dan Pruitt, and that's going to bring Alex Schroeder to the plate. And that's another example of how this Bison lineup, and you'll see it. I mentioned it a couple times. The talent at the plate up and down this lineup, when the bats are going for this team, there's not a lot of teams that can play with them in the conference. You'll see them put 8, 9, 10 runs up like it's nothing, just because of the amount of talent there is up and down the lineup. Schroeder comes to the plate, and that's another guy that's got unbelievable power and unbelievable talent as he continues to kind of search for that kickoff point for him to return to form as he sees a fastball inside the zone, or maybe an off-speed pitch, actually, judging by the pitch speed. It looked fast to me. And he bats that off for an 0-1 disadvantage to Baez. Harold, the righty, 6'2", 175, the sophomore from Miami, Florida. Throws a great pitch low in the zone that Schroeder swings and misses on for strike two. Went to Western Nebraska Community College and transferred in from there to Pitt State. From Miami to Nebraska to Kansas, that's quite a few jumps in location as he's looking to showcase his talents for the Gorillas. He nods and delivers another great pitch. Schroeder takes a cut at it and misses. That's the second time we've seen off speed in that sequence. It was really simple. Started off speed, went fastball, and then the slider, and then back to the off speed again. And that's a successful sequence that this Pitt State staff has shown consistently throughout the day. As Cade Self's going to come to the plate. Self, another preseason All-American for the Bison, and one of the best bats in the country, as he's already shown today on multiple occasions with 2 hits. Cade, as Todd mentioned earlier in the broadcast, part of the state championship Shawnee team that was just a juggernaut of a high school baseball team, one of the most talented teams you'll see in terms of aggregation of talent and locally grown talent. You know, not a private school that moves kids in, just a group of kids that all grew up at the same time in the same place, which is becoming increasingly rare for the high school athletic landscape. As Schaefer tries to get caught going to third, Harold did a great job of turning back at the last second, caught him almost 2 steps into a steal. The athleticism of Jaden to be able to turn and return to second without being picked off was a great feat of athleticism there from Jaden. Clemens again kind of checking on Jaden a little bit. Some gamesmanship there from Baez as well. This Cade's going to call for time so he can get out of the zone. And Todd, you mentioned it, that now the speed of this whole gamesmanship with runners and, as we've talked about, it kind of ruins, or not ruins, but it changes the dynamic significantly of the pitcher, base runner, hitter kind of relationship and the way that gets handled. Baez looking back, the pitch clock going to 1 as Cade Self leaves one to Clemens, who tries to take it to second. Error throw going to go long. Branson's going to return over to the dugout to get it, and that's going to bring Schaefer in and extend the runners. Cade to second. And Pruitt to third, and that's going to score another to take the Bison lead to 5. That's going to bring Trey Furry to the plate. Trey, as Todd talked about earlier, who's been the epitome of consistency throughout his career here at the plate, and that's just an unforced error there for the Gorillas in a day that they really can't afford to have another one.
You talk about the new rule and how it's changed baseball and the pace. I mean, we're almost through 5 innings, played an hour and 15 minutes, but you wonder how it would affect a guy like Mike Hargrove, who is known as the human rain delay for the Texas Rangers. He'd get out, he'd walk around the batter's box, he'd change his gloves. I mean, it took him a minute and a half in between pitches. No more of that.
Exactly, and it shows there's times where it can be advantageous to both, right? If you have a pitcher that's humming and he's excited and he's finding his spots, he wants to get back on the mound as soon as possible to deliver that next pitch. Whereas if you're a hitter, you want a little bit of time. You want him to think about what he has to throw next. Harold delivers the pitch. Missed from third there from Dagan Brady. I guess it'd probably be considered an error. It looks like he had an opportunity to get his glove on that. I don't know that was an unreachable ball there from Dagan. That's going to be an RBI for Trey.
They're going to score a single, and I think that's the correct call. That ball was pretty well hit.
It was.
It wasn't a routine play. He had to move to his left, and looks like Baez may be through as Pitt's already headed out to the mound.
Well, and that's the second RBI we've seen from Trey today. The first on a sac fly out to right field. And in this Bison lineup, really, when you look at it, especially when you take over the career, maybe not exactly the start you would want, but Todd, they can score from anywhere in the lineup. They can score from 6, 7, 8, and even 1, 2, and 3 obviously is potent. But even later in the lineup, as you see here, Trey, I mean, he just turns on this pitch. It's low in the zone. He turns on it. And, you're right, Todd. Originally I thought it should have been maybe an error, but Dagan made a great run at it, and he just couldn't reach it, judging by the replay.
Pitching coach went out to the mound. They do have some activity loosening to the bullpen. And you don't know how long this appearance is designed for anyway with Baez. Looks like it may be a 2 or 3 inning rotation for most of the staffs. It's a pitching staff kind of day here in Shawnee during this midweek game.
And Baez hasn't done a bad job by any means as far as his appearance goes. You think about the error we had earlier on the missed throw to second. That gets him out of the inning if they were able to turn 2 there. So, it's kind of important. Sometimes it's just as important as for a pitcher to be able to bounce back from a fielding error, even as the fielder is to bounce back from an error. Gabe Irwin at the plate, 0-2 today, as he takes a check swing ball for ball 1 down low in the zone. Judging by Harold's reaction, I think he felt like that should have been called a strike as he had off-speed low in the zone that he felt like painted that corner. Self on third, Furry on second. I wouldn't be surprised to see Furry go here. Here he goes. Hit and run on the books for the Bison is Irwin's going to get out, but he's going to get an RBI as Cade crosses, as we did see a hit and run there. Trey took off for second. Irwin had the green light to take a hit. He just takes a little ground out to second. Routine play for Connor Locks, but still a run for the Bison.
Well, that ball was hit right at Locks, but it wasn't hit all that sharply, so I don't know if they get 2 anyway, but certainly sending Furry with the pitch and contact being made kept them out of that double play or any possibility of it and tacked on the 7th run of the ball game.
Absolutely, and Troy Shields is going to come to the plate. 0-2 so far in this ball game, but he has been extremely hot for the Bison this year when he's gotten the opportunity to step to the plate. Prior to today, hitting .333 in 12 at-bats. As he takes a cut at the first pitch he sees, 0-1 with Furry on second. All of the runners have been rounded to score, as there's a 3-inning bottom of the 5th so far for the Bison. Harold deals, checking back at Furry. Locks playing cat over there, and that's going to cost him his his gamesmanship over with Furry at second actually pushed him out of position to be able to make that play for Troy Shields, and that's going to put him with his first hit of the day as that RBI to bring Trey Furry home to have the 8th run of the ball game up for the Bison.
That scored a hit, Zach, but I'm not certain that's not a play that a Division II second baseman should be able to make. He got there. He just didn't get his glove down in time. It's a break for OBU, and they had put together a 4 spot here in the 5th and are threatening to put this one away.
Exactly, and it's kind of the same thing we saw with Dagan Brady earlier in this inning, right? Is a lot of times that's the kind of risk you take with gamesmanship. You're trying to keep Trey at first, or keep him at second, and try to play with him to make him reduce his lead so he can't take third. But in the meantime, it costs you. It costs you the ability to make that play being in the position you're normally in. And that brings Jose Parga up to the plate today, who's had a great day so far. 1 for 2 at the plate, made a couple plays out there at short for the Bison. He's looking to extend this lead with Troy Shields at first. 1-0 pitch, bottom right-hand corner of the zone. Looked like a slider sliding away from Parga there. Called strike 1-1. 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th inning, or bottom of the 5th inning, excuse me. Peeks over at Shields at first. Likes a sign, kicks and delivers. Another beautiful pitch. Probably should have been called a strike there from my perspective, as we're going to take a look at Troy's single here. Fights off that fastball on the outside of the zone, stays behind it, and I looking at that, Todd, I think you're right. I think he definitely should have had that play at second over there for Locks. I feel like you're right. That's a play a Division II second baseman needs to make. Inside fastball misses as Parga dives out of the way, not to take that same shot that Brendan Hinton took, earlier in this game, avoiding that elbow shot from the fastball there from Baez. Baez fastball outside of the zone. Parga lifts it out to right field. Koval trying to find it. He's found it, and he's going to take the put out to retire the side for the Bison. The Bison, though, 4 runs in a big 5th inning to widen this gap between them and Pitt State. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a big effort here from the Bison. I think we're going to see a pitching change, and we will have that information for you when we come back here on the Bison Sports Network.
Back here at Bobby Cox Field in Ford Park, Tuesday afternoon, now 8-0 Oklahoma Baptist as we played 5, and the third Bison pitcher of the day, Logan Kimbrough, comes into the ball game, the second of 3 left-handers today. He is a sophomore, 5'11", transfer from Cali County Community College in Arkansas City, Kansas. Graduate of Iowa Park, Texas. This is a situation right here for Logan Kimbrough to find himself. He's been wayward in his prior 2 starts. His earned run average is almost 21, 5 1/3 innings, 14 hits, 12 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and 2 walks. So this is an important start for Logan Kimbrough. He started against Arkansas Tech and went an inning and a third. 7 hits, 9 runs, all of which were earned as you look at the final out of the bottom of the 5th inning. So Andrew Branson will lead off. He's 0 for 2, a couple of pop-outs to Jose Parga, actually lined out to a leaping Parga back in the 3rd for the final out of the inning. Logan Kimbrough out of Iowa Park, Texas, making his home debut. First pitch is a fastball away, 1 ball, no strikes. First relief appearance among his 3 trips to the mound this year for the young left-hander. And he works quickly, delivers the pitch, swung and a miss for a strike. It is 1-1.
And Todd, you're going to see Kimbrough use that armband actually on his belt. So you'll see him check that armband on his belt. He's got it wrapped around, and that's where he's going to check that soft call from.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Last year, Oklahoma Baptist used the earpiece in the ear of the catcher. That's the way they delivered signs. This year, they have gone with the newest technology. That's pretty impressive for a Division II school. And a breaking ball looked at for a strike. 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Gorillas here in the 6th. Pittsburgh State 7-2 in their last 9, and a swing and a miss and a slider away, and down goes Branson. Bison pitching now have recorded a strikeout in 3 consecutive innings after failing to strike out one hitter in the first 3 innings thrown by Ryan Turbeville. Here comes Dagan Brady, the third baseman. He has walked twice in the first and the 4th innings. Gorillas today have left runners on in 3 of the first 5 against OBU pitching. There's a strike, and it's 0-1. Incidentally, I think Mark Zittler, the home plate umpire, has had a good day today calling balls and strikes. It's early for the umpires, too. 0-1 pitch. Hit right off of Kimbrough's glove, bounces out to second, throw to first from Schaefer in time.
Wow.
And it's a 1-4-3 putout as Brady is robbed of a ball headed for center field and a base hit.
Well, and that's the opposite of what we've seen so far. We mentioned earlier how Tunnel had those plays where it hit his glove and it hurt the defense. That time, Kimbrough getting a raw hand on that ball was able to actually make it an easier play for Schaefer to make it to first.
Cade Clemens, the only Pitt State hitter today with a base hit, and his did not leave the infield. Infield hit to short back of the first inning. That's with the bases empty and 2 outs, and the first pitch downstairs, 1 ball, no strikes. Clemens, that scratch hit in the first, struck out against Garrett Kellogg-Clark back of the 5th. Kellogg-Clark struck out 3 of the 6 outs in which he recorded. Now the 1-0 pitch. 1 hopper out to Schaefer at second. A belt-high hop, easy play to first. And Logan Kimbrough with his most impressive inning of work in his young OBU career. 1, 2, 3 and out go Pitt State. We move to the bottom of the 6th. It's 8-0 Bison on the Bison Sports Network. Yeah. Nebraska native right-hander Paul Panduro, Panduro, out of the bullpen. 4th Gorilla we've seen take the mound today. Duncan went 2, Tittle went 2, Baez went 1, and now it's Panduro here in the 6th. Panduro will face the top third of the OBU lineup with Lasad, Schaefer, and Dan Pruitt. Enjoyed a great Marco's Pizza lunch here in the press box this afternoon. And don't forget, you too can enjoy authentic Italian quality pizza right here in Pottawatomie County. Thanks to Marco's Pizza, they have a lunch special from 11 to 2 Monday through Friday, starting at $5.49. A student special that includes a 1 large topping pizza and cheesy bread for only $10.
And if you don't like pizza, they have subs too. Holy cow, we catered the subs to the basketball game a couple nights ago. Another reason, if you're not a Champions Club member, to be a member of the Champions Club here at OBU for basketball games. And the subs are unbelievable too, so you really can't go wrong at Marco's, it seems.
If you'd like to join the Bison Athletic Association, where you can have a direct and tangible impact on the success of more than 450 OBU student athletes, you can do so. Sign it up today, and for more information at obubison.com/BAA. Todd Miller, Zach Frazier with you here. Bottom of the 6th, Isaiah Lasad, hitless in 3 at-bats with a strikeout. Faces Paul Panduro. Bison need 2 runs and 3 outs to run rule Pittsburgh State here in this midweek game. Harding in town Friday night, doubleheader Saturday afternoon. Lasad's first pitch is lifted foul and out of play first base side. We will have baseball for you Friday night right here on the Bison Sports Network. Basketball, of course, in the senior day finale against East Central. A huge game for OBU's men Saturday afternoon here in Shawnee. The 0-1 pitch. Couldn't pull the trigger, and it's a strike. No balls, 2 strikes. OBU going to the road and shocking Southern Arkansas last week. They had been ranked 6th in the Central Region standings before the Bison got a much-needed split on their recent road trip to Arkansas and a called 3rd strike. So Lasad goes down looking. Jaden Schaefer now will be the batter. Isaiah Lasad now has struck out 11 times in just over 40 at-bats. So he has not seen the ball as well as he did last year, at least early. Lasad, a very dangerous leadoff hitter, not only for average, but for power. Schaefer, on the other hand, has had a good day. 2 hits, and he jumps on the first pitch, pops it up down the line and right, long run, and it is a home run. Just inside the fair pole, or the foul pole. And Jaden Schaefer, in his first game here at Bobby Cox Field, hits his first home run in Shawnee, his 2nd of the year, and drives in run number 4, and it's now 9-0.
And that was almost the way he looked at it, the way he swung, the way he held, it did nothing about it. Screamed home run. And that just shows you the power that he had, because it didn't, his follow-through wasn't aggressive. He didn't trot off, and it was all of us kind of just watched it like that ball's still flying.
Yeah, that was more power, and that's why I had to hesitate at the call, because Brevin Lee went up to the fence like he thought he had a chance at it. And Schaefer wasn't sure either it was going to exit the ballpark or go foul. First pitch is a strike to Dan Pruitt. It's 0-1. Dan, a couple of hits. Has scored twice. He also has walked. Dan Pruitt came in 9 for 32. I'd like to get him hot for this weekend's matchup with Harding. Called strike, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. 9-inning game. Friday night at 6 on the Bison Sports Network. OBU needs to get at least 2 of 3 for the Bisons after being swept in Russellville last week. The 0-2 pitch. Lined foul and just missing Keach Ballard, the assistant of the first base coach's box. You know, we talk about the talent of the roster. Chris Cox has put together a really good staff. He and Cody Painter have been like glove in hand since both came back to Bison Hill, working as assistants for the legendary coach Bobby Cox. And then they've added Keach Ballard, a former Bison standout who played professionally for a time. Fastball inside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. They've also added Trace Maddox, who bedeviled a lot of teams in the Great American Conference as a member of Arkansas Tech's baseball squad. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Panduro's pitch is a strike on the outside corner, and Dan knew it. He immediately turned to walk to the first or third base dugout.
That's the second time he did that in his at-bat. You can tell that he knew immediately as that ball was crossing the plate that, you know, he should have taken a cutout and protected the plate. And that's a mistake you'll see Dan make not very often. So, you know, you kind of take those when you get them because you know it doesn't happen often.
OBU with their first home run of the afternoon now has clubbed 11 this year. That incidentally was the 12th home run given up by the Gorilla pitching staff. First pitch, off speed, and swung and a miss by Alex Schroeder, for a strike. They're playing him pretty much straight up. Brett Daly, the center fielder, shifted slightly towards left of center. Here's the pitch to Schroeder, looked at for a strike, and Panduro has come out of the bullpen, and he has pitched very, very well. Panduro, 2-1, earned run average of 4.05. This is his 4th appearance, all in relief. He now has gone over 7 innings of work out of the bullpen. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Change up in the dirt. It rolls away from Hinton, but he jumps on it and throws to first. And the inning is over. So 3 strikeouts, but he gives up the solo home run to Jaden Schaefer. On to the 7th we go. It's now 9-0 Bison on the Bison Sports Network. Logan Kimbrough, who worked a clean 6th inning, will face the 5, 6, and 7-hole hitters for Pitt State. OBU adding a run to the Jaden Schaefer home run. It's now 9-0 Bison. Mr. Frazier, you and I have some business we need to talk about. You have a big golf tournament coming up in March, in which I was told today that I will not be allowed to play. You caught my attention when you said that too.
Yeah, I know it. It's unfortunate, you know. We've tore up many golf courses together. Not a groundskeeper's friend, but you know we have a great time while we're out there.
Yes, we do. First pitch inside from Kimbrough to Koval. 1 ball, no strikes. It's the Bison Backers Golf Club coming up next month. Fire Lake Golf Course here in Shawnee. 2 balls, no strikes to Koval.
Exactly.
Tell us about it.
Exactly, man. That's exactly right. It's just a tournament in truth, just to support our student athletes, scholarships. It's all the money's going there. You don't have to worry about us, the administration, budget, all that is not a problem. It's strictly we are just here to make an event to support student athletes in the best way we know how, and that's scholarship money. It's directly tangible money that goes to them.
2 balls, 1 strike to Ryan Koval. In comes Kimbrough's pitch on the handle and fouled up the third baseline. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Is that tournament full? Can people still sign up?
Oh, yeah, they can absolutely still sign up. You go to our website, the link's right there. There's a pop-up page going to be Bison Backers Classic Week. Click on that link. It'll take you to the sign-up page, and we'll be ready to roll. 2
balls and 2 strikes. Kimbrough winds and brings it home. And a little tapper up the third baseline, and it's trouble if it stays fair, but you see Kimbrough there gloves it, and it's 2-2. Ultimately, you'd like to have 2 different flights in that thing, wouldn't you?
I would love to have. That's a great problem to have. If so many people wanted to play golf and support a great cause that we couldn't do it all at one time, that's a great problem to have for us as an administration. And we're going to do as many flights as we need. So if you want to play golf, support a good cause, even if you can't make it out that day, you still want to support the athletes you watch on a regular basis, feel free to sign up.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Koval today has reached the fielder's choice, flied out to right, and down he goes looking. The ball was dropped by Shields. Everybody stood for a moment, and then Shields out in front of home plate throws to first.
Well, I don't think anybody felt like that was a strike, judging by
the strike.
But judging by the reaction from the hitter and the catcher, both of them, they maybe felt like it was in the dirt, and they weren't.
Maybe they need to get an earpiece and listen to the Bison Network. What do you think?
I agree.
Have a pinch hitter here in the 7th inning. Carson Coffey, number 9, a sophomore from Bentonville, Arkansas. And he takes low, 1 ball, no strikes. Coffey played at Eastern Oklahoma Junior College in Wilburton, and what a program that they have established there in Eastern Oklahoma. There's Kimbrough's 1-0 pitch. Checked his swing on one of the dirt, and they called it a strike. Said he did not swing, or he did swing, so it's 1-1.
Beautiful curveball there from Kimbrough. As you're going to see, it looks like the strike called at the very end of that last at bat, and you're right, Todd. It looks like it's right there at the knees, and it was just hesitant. It seemed like just some confusion was there.
Same pitch. That one was downstairs, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Carson Coffey playing at his 8th game. He's only made 2 starts. Coffey hitting .412, 7 for 17. 1 home run, and he has driven in 6. So a little bit of power from the right side. as Kimbrough delivers the 2-1 pitch. A late swing, and it's swatted out of play on the first base side. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Brett Galbraith will go on the mound on Friday night here in the series opener against Harding. Those two teams played last year with the first round of the conference tournament in Hot Springs, and OBU won that one. A little chopper high to first base. Easy play for Pruitt. 2 steps to the bag, and there is 2 gone. That ball chopped so high it was almost, by the time it came down, like a little pop fly out there to first. And now Kimbrough has retired 5 in a row as Brett Daly will bat.
And there's got to be some real optimism here from Coach Painter and company in this first base dugout for the Bison, that you've seen production from each of your pitchers that you've seen on the mound today. You've seen consistent production, producing strikes, producing plays in the field in balls that their defenders can get.
You can see Logan Kimbrough. The pitchers usually wear that new apparatus on their belt buckle. The infielders have it on their forearm. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there for a strike. It's 1-1. Left-hander now working behind Logan Kimbrough in the OBU bullpen, so his day is likely finished after the 7th. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. He has really had good command, Zach, of that curveball.
And that curveball is what kept it kind of off schedule, if you will, right? Throwing the curveball back pitches, not allowing to get a beat on when the fastball's coming.
1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Down he goes, and Shields holds on. How about Kimbrough? Like Tex before him, strikes out 3 of the 6 outs over 2 innings. We go to the bottom of the 7th. 9-0 Oklahoma Baptist to the Bison Sports Network.
OBU fans, do you want the chance to support OBU student athletes from the convenience of your own mobile device? Text hashtag BAA at OBU to the number 52014 to support BAA student athletes. Donations are fully tax deductible, and every gift makes a difference in the OBU student athlete's life. Again, text hashtag BAA at OBU to the number 52014. For more information, log on to obubison.com.
There you see the new pitcher for Pitt State. Entering the ball game is 6 foot, 185-pound sophomore right-hander Andrew Weissner. Graduate of Eisenhower High School in Wichita, Kansas. He pitched this past weekend against Sioux Falls, allowed 1 earned run, 2 hits, 1 strikeout over an inning of work. So Weissner will get Cade Self, Trey Furry, and Gabe Irwin. Duncan went 2, Tittle 2, Baez and Panduro 1 inning each, and now the 5th Gorilla to take the mound, Andrew Weissner, W-I-S-N-E-R. First United Bank, educating and empowering our community to spend life wisely with convenient locations in Shawnee and Seminole. First United Bank, the official bank sponsor of OBU Athletics. Glad to have you along, whether you're a Gorilla fan or a Bison fan, watching in on our broadcast this afternoon. It's good to be back at the baseball diamond. Good to be back with my man, Zach Frazier, who is as healthy entering this season as he has been in the previous 2, simply because he's not going through spring football.
Now batting right fielder, number
But
20,
he's informed me he's going
Self.
back on a diet again in the spring. I thought that was over after week 11 of the football season. Here's Cade Self, who's reached 3 times, has scored 2 runs, has a single and a walk to his credit. Weissner's first pitch is fouled off for a strike. I guess there's something going on in, what is it, May, that's going to require you to drop a few pounds?
Yeah, I don't know about required, but not having to buy another suit just to fit 2 together would be a valuable tool as I get married. Me and my fiance get married in May.
0-1 pitch into the handle. That's popped up. It's spinning towards the foul area and out of play on the first base side. No balls, 2 strikes. Tell you what, Zach has outkicked his coverage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and actually I think we do, after watching that fly ball. Connor Allen is now in at catcher, wearing number 25. He's back behind the plate for the Gorillas, the 6'1", 230-pound sophomore from Wichita, Kansas, and Barton Community College.
In comes Weisner's 0-2 pitch to Cade Self. And a swing and a miss. Blew a fastball high and away past him. And that is now 4 consecutive strikeouts by Pittsburgh State's pitching staff. And here is Trey Furry. Here's a couple of hits, an RBI ground out, 1-6-3 of the third, and an RBI single in the fifth. Trey with one of his more productive games early in the season. I know his mom, Tracy, and family listed out in California, and ought to be awful proud of their young boy. He's certainly a great man, a great addition to this Bison program now for the last 2 years as he takes low, 1 ball, no strikes. 9 runs, 10 hits for OBU. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error for Pitt State. Then comes the 1-0 pitch. Outside quarter, and it's 1-1.
And Todd, that's also been a quiet success. You know, you mentioned 9 runs on 10 hits. That's not a lot of hits for the amount of production there is on the scoreboard. And so it's a credit to the discipline at the plate and also the base running discipline as well.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's lined into left field. That's trouble, and diving to take away a base hit is Lee. That ball was tailored away from Brevin Lee, and he stretched out to his right and took away a sinking line drive headed for the base of the fence at extra bases from Trey Furry.
What a play from Lee out there. Started the ball late. It looked like it was going to drop for sure down the chalk on the left field line, and he made a diving play, not over pursuing. He made a great play.
Gabe Irwin, who's 0 for 3 today with an RBI ground out, jumps on the first pitch and fouls it out of play for a strike. We need to finish that conversation about the Bison Backers Golf Tournament. Give us the day. We know the location, Fire Lake Golf Course here in Shawnee, and ways to get signed up or contact you.
Exactly right. You can either contact me. My email is my first and last name with a dot in the middle, zachary.frazier@okbu.edu. Feel free to reach out with any questions. And then also there's a gala in a couple days right after that. If you want to listen to Tim Tebow, everybody knows the name, recent inductee to the College Football Hall of Fame. Feel free to go to the website and sign up for that as well, or reach out to me and we'll get you in the right spot.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Lifted foul and out of play straight back, so Irwin is behind 0-2. Andrew Weisner has come out of the bullpen and pitched very, very well. He's economized his pitches in striking out Self in 3 straight, inducing a line drive off the bat of Furry, and there you see the play turned it again. Diving catch by Lee out in left. Did that in just 4 pitches. Now he's got Irwin down 0-2. Here's the pitch. Little check swing. Liner into center field. It's going to carry, though, to Daly, and the inning is over. So aside from the Schaefer home run back in the 6th, Panduro and Weisner have retired 6 of the last 7 OBU hitters. On to the 8th we go. 9-0 Bison of the Bison Sports Network. You like Brandon? You like Brandon? I like him too. Jordan Brewer, a left-hander from nearby Choctaw, just down I-40, about 15 miles or so here from campus, comes in. And he is the 4th Oklahoma Baptist pitcher used this afternoon. Jordan Brewer in for the 3rd time. His earned run average is 18. 2 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, a strikeout, and a hit. So a little bit like Kimbrough, the same thing applies with Jordan Brewer. You'd like to use him a lot in various forms in conference play, but you need better command for the young left-hander. Rafael Gutierrez has entered the game. He now is in right field for Oklahoma Baptist as the Gorillas get set to bat off Jordan Brewer. We've seen 3 of the 4 pitchers today left-handers. as Connor Allen will lead off here, hitting for Braden Hinton in the number 8 spot here with the 8th.
Yeah, 25, right. No, it's the catcher.
So Connor Allen, big, thick catcher, swings at the first pitch and misses for a strike. It's 0-1. Connor Allen is playing at his 7th game. He has started 4 of his previous 6, hitting .308 with 4 hits, 13 at-bats. Pops that pitch up, and that's out of play on the first base side. Advantage to Jordan Brewer. No balls and 2 strikes. Jordan's older brother, Brandon Brewer, is on the roster as well. He, in fact, is a middle infielder and played all 3 games of the conference opening series against Arkansas Tech as Jordan's pitch is in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good look at the Bison receiver today, Troy Shields. Troy and Schroeder are really good friends. In fact, they room together, and that's something two combatants battling for the same position you don't always see, as that pitch is downstairs. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yes, they are competitive. They want to win. They want to play, but off the field they have really become good friends. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And a pop-up into the outfield. Gutierrez coming in very shallow right. He'll make the catch, and there's 1 out here with the 8th.
And that's something you love to see from 2 guys, right, that play the same position, that are both deserving of playing time, as we've seen by the way they've produced on the field. But the way that it speaks about the culture that they cultivate on campus here, right? We talk about it all the time, Todd. Not only do you have great players on campus, but you have great people on campus too.
Trey McClellan will bat down in place of Connor Locks. McClellan, a junior from Olathe, a transfer from Coffeyville Community College, takes a big swing and misses for a kid 0-1. So Connor Allen is in the ball game. He was defensively as the catcher in the bottom of the 7th. Cooper Locks is now out of the ball game here in the 8th. Downstairs, 1 ball and 1 strike. It's actually Connor Locks. Bison leading 9-0. They've outscored Pittsburgh State 30-4 in 2 meetings this spring. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Downstairs, 2 balls and 1 strike. I'll be surprised. I'll be honest. I'm surprised this score is what it is. I thought it would be a much more competitive game, certainly than it is than the first game. But these are 2 quality programs. There's a well-hit ball into left, and that ball is gone. No doubt about it. As McClellan avoids the shutout for the Gorillas, and it's now 9-1. 14th home run of the year for Pittsburgh State, and the 2nd in just 12 at-bats for Trey McClellan.
Todd, that ball was smoked. That McClellan got all of that ball. As soon as it left the bat, everybody in the stadium knew. Irwin didn't even bother to go out and try to chase that ball down in left field. He knew it was gone. The guys in the bullpen weren't worried about it. That ball was smoked.
Here's Grauberger for OBU. That is the 9th home run their pitching staff has surrendered in this game number 10. Jordan Brewer, the left-hander, brings it home, and the pitch is high and away. 1 ball, no strikes. The lifeblood of this OBU program has been in the California junior college ranks, really since CC and Painter took over recruiting. There's a foul ball nubbed towards the first base side. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. They go out there in the fall. They have great rapport with the junior college teams in the California State. They know their players are going to play winning baseball. They're going to be treated right when they come to OBU, and that's why they send them halfway across the country. Here's the 1-1 pitch, way outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Now, there are exceptions. You have Austin Albright on the roster from Chickasha. You have Jordan and Brandon Brewer from Choctaw. You have Jonah Mahan, who's from Jones. Cade Self from here in Shawnee. Dan Pruitt from Oklahoma City, and there's a strike. So it's not all Cali guys on the roster, but they have built a really good program through that junior college pipeline. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and a little bouncing ball to short, big hop for Parga. Easy play as he steps and throws, and there's 2 out here with the 8th. Pittsburgh State can feed their program through the junior college ranks as well, but they don't have to go to California. The Jayhawk League in the state of Kansas is one of the better JUCO leagues in all of America. Here's Andrew Branson, couple of unassisted putouts by Parga at second and a strikeout swinging. He takes away 1 ball, no strikes. Another look at Jose Parga. It's good to have him back in the lineup after missing all 3 games at Arkansas Tech, and that would have helped. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball away, 2 balls, no strikes. It's been 297 days, Zach, since we've been to this booth. April 30th, 2022, a win over Southern Nazarene, OBU's last home game. In comes the pitch. Big swing, no contact, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Bison have won 35 of 48 games in 3 years at this ballpark. Under Chris Cox, it now bears his father's name, Bobby Cox Field. Another pop-up, but it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's the first time the Gorillas have visited. Only the 4th meeting in program history between the two. 2 of them have been played in Edmond on the UCO campus last year. Midweek game was in Pittsburgh. Tried to check his swing. Did he go around? They appeal to first, and no, he did not, says Andy Udy. So it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. That game last year in Pittsburgh was typical of a midweek game. 15-14. The 3-2 pitch, and he lost him. So Brewer has given up a home run and a walk. He's retired 2, and now he'll face the third baseman, Dagan Brady.
Now batting number 23, Dagan Brady.
Cameron Poole is working behind Jordan Brewer, the bullpen. So he may get a chance to close this game out in the 9th inning. Brady has walked twice, grounded out 1-4-3 his last time up, and he takes low, 1 ball, no strikes. So many midweek games feature so many batters, so many pitching changes, a ton of runners, sometimes a lot of errors. And they can drag on and on and on. As that pitch is popped out of play on the first base side, it's 1 ball, 1 strike. We'll never forget a few years ago in this ballpark, a game that was won by Oklahoma Christian 21-19. Game lasted over 5 hours. It was ridiculous. 1-1 pitch. Didn't mean to. Went around on the slider. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. It was, needless to say, not pitched very well, but it was equally as bad defensively between those 2 teams. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's Jordan Brewer's pitch. And a called third strike. Got him on a bender. Brady could not pull the trigger, and Brewer gets the strikeout to go along with a walk. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 9-1 Bison of the Bison Sports Network. Todd Miller, Zach Frazier, and our Bison Sports Network crew back here with you this Tuesday afternoon, 9-1 Bison, and we'll have another Gorilla pitching change as 6'4" right-hander Dawson Pomeroy, a graduate student from Shawnee Heights High School in Topeka, comes in. He's listed at 220. Pomeroy pitched against Metro State Denver, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts back on February the 18th, so that was this past weekend. He made 2 appearances on that long homestand for the Gorillas. They went 2-1 with wins over SWOSU and Northern State in the first pitch classic at Edmond. They lost to OBU. Then they went home and won 7 games. Or make that 6-2. And they are 8-3 entering this one this afternoon. Here's Troy Shields to face Pomeroy, and the first pitch is cut on and popped up behind home plate. Allen giving chase, but to no avail, and it's strike 1. Speaking of that first pitch classic, that's when Dawson Pomeroy made his debut, the 3rd game of the year. Went an inning against Northern State and struck out 2. Pomeroy winds and the pitch. Swing and a miss. I think some good movement to it. It's no balls, 2 strikes. First road game of the year for Pittsburgh State. They are 6-2 at home, 2-1 on neutral fields. Pomeroy's pitch, fastball high and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. After today's brief trip here to Oklahoma, they're back home to begin MIAA play this weekend against Missouri Southern. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. That's through the wickets of Allen to the backstop, but there goes Shields. He will reach on a pass ball. So Pomeroy will get credit for the strikeout. That is his 6th now. In just 2 2/3 innings this year, but OBU gets a base runner out of the deal, and here is Jose Parga, the shortstop. Told you that Bob Fernelli is legendary among active Division II coaches. He is the 6th active winningest coach in Division II baseball, entering this one today. First pitch upstairs, 1 ball, no strikes. Spent 7 years at Fort Hays State when they were the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. Won a school record 306 games, then moved on to his alma mater, Emporia State. Spent 15 years there and won 599 times. A pop fly out to right. Koval comes in medium depth. He'll make the catch, and Shields back to first with 1 out. 5 years ago, he was named the head coach at Pitt State. Last year, they were the MIAA postseason tournament runners-up to eventual national champion Central Missouri. Central Missouri actually was the runner-up, not the national champion. Pomeroy comes set at the belt and delivers. Late swing and a miss by Lassad, and it's no balls, 1 strike.
And Todd, this is the type of at bat you want for Isaiah Lassad, right? Someone who maybe has been sputtering at the beginning of this year. You can tell he's getting a little frustrated, but these are the type of the batting at bats that can really get you back on track.
Lassad 0 for 1 today, swings and pops that one straight back at us. It's no balls, 2 strikes. So Fornelli, Fornelli, 114 wins at Pittsburgh State, entering play today. In his career, he has won 1,020 games and lost 448. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Low and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. A remarkable legacy of long coaching stints at Pittsburgh State. He's only the 5th since the program was started 42 years ago. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Way outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. These 2 teams, again, will see each other again March the 7th in the Sunflower State. That's one of 2 remaining games against Great American Conference foes for the Gorillas. The other is in Russellville, late April at Arkansas Tech. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
That's the 3rd straight time, Todd, we've seen the miss on the far outside right of the zone, really almost in the left-handed batter box there.
The Gorillas have had their problems the last couple of years against the Great American Conference. 3 balls, 2 strikes. In comes Pomeroy's pitch, and it's down and in. So Shields to second, on to first with a walk is Isaiah Lassad. Last year, Pittsburgh State went 2-5 against the GAC. 0-2 against OBU. They lost single games against Henderson State, Southern Arkansas, and Ouachita Baptist. Their only win was against Southwestern. They're about to be 1-2 this year with their only victory against SWOSU. And again, the aforementioned two dates coming up in March and April against the Bison and Arkansas Tech. Jaden Schaefer, who homered down the left field line his last time up, takes a strike on the inside corner, and it's 0-1. As we described to you, and you saw on the broadcast, it was kind of a strange at bat. Schaefer didn't know if it was going to leave the ballpark or even stay fair. And Lee thought he had a play on it, and all of a sudden it just stayed inside the foul pole. Fastball away, 1 strike to Jaden Schaefer, who has 3 hits in his home debut here today at Bobby Cox Field.
And Todd, to talk about the power of being able to take a ball opposite like that, not on a good swing, and not even think it's going to leave the ballpark, but to have the power to hit it is unbelievable.
Here's the 1-1 offering way outside. That's off of Allen's glove. There goes Shields to third and Lasad to second. That'll be a pass ball on Connor Allen. And the count now is 2 balls and a strike to Jaden Schaefer.
And this is a great move by Connor Allen. You're struggling a little bit on the bump right now. You're maybe not being able to hit. Pomeroy's not being able to hit his spots maybe the 1-2. We've seen a couple wild misses out to the right. The pass ball that allowed Troy to get on base. And now that's the second pass ball in the same inning. That's a great use of a time right there. Go get your guy. Tell him, hey, you're all right, man. Let's get this through this.
What it also does is put the winning runs in scoring position with a base hit. This game could end here with the 8th. 2-1 the count. Pomeroy comes set at the belt. Now kicks and brings it home, and it's low, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike to Jaden with Dan Pruitt on deck. Bison at home for a brief 4-game series. Today against Pittsburgh State, Friday night at 6 against Harding. Doubleheader starting at 1 on Saturday against the Harding Bisons. Then next week, they will travel to Northwestern for 3 games in their 3rd Great American Conference tilt. There's ball 4, so the bases are loaded. I need to correct myself. This is actually part of a 5-game homestand that wraps around from this Tuesday to next week. Emporia State will be in town next Tuesday for a 3 o'clock game, and we're going to get a visit out to the mound. OBU has a score to settle with Emporia State as the Hornets knocked off OBU in the first game of the season, 17-9, that at the First Pitch Classic in Edmond. Bison this year, 3-6. They count wins over Pittsburgh State, McKendree, and a win at Central Oklahoma. So they have faced a couple of the top teams in IAA, and Pittsburgh State and UCO both were picked in the top 5 of the league coaches poll. Before last weekend, OBU had 2 losses by a combined 7 runs. And last weekend, after they were run ruled by 10 of the first game of the series at Arkansas Tech, they trailed 9-2 after 2 in the middle game of the series, eventually lost 12-9, and then dropped a 1-run decision of the finale, the 7-inning game, 3-2.
Number 28, Dan Pruitt.
So Dan Pruitt with a base hit ends the ball game here in the 8th. 9-1 Bison. They've out-hit Pitt State 10-2. Here's Pomeroy's pitch. Big swing, no contact. Like a slider, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
Todd, I don't think that was a base hit swing right there, was it?
No.
That had a high fly ball to left center field written all over it right there. Dan wants a long ball here.
Pomeroy gets the sign. Now in comes the 0-1 pitch. A little low, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. They have shifted the outfield a little bit towards left of center. Not much, but they're playing Dan primarily as a dead pull hitter. In comes the 1-1 pitch. And a fly ball popped up near home plate. Allen called off by the third baseman Brady, who comes down the line, and that's out number 2. So it is up to Alex Schroeder if we play a 9th inning.
Now batting designated hitter, number 30, Alex.
And Alex
Schroeder
is certainly capable, and he's certainly due. He's 0 for 4 today. Alex struck out of the 5th, struck out of the 6th. Pomeroy is the 6th of 6 pitchers today. That one is away, 1 ball, no strikes. We were expected to be in the 70s. We're not going to get there this afternoon. It's mid-60s now with cloudy skies. 1-0 pitch popped up and out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. There for a brief time, right after the game started, it looked like the clouds might break, but they have been pretty persistent this afternoon, and thus the temperature's not quite as warm as originally forecast. Storms, though, overnight here in the Shawnee area in the forecast. 1-1 pitch. Fouled back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We'll give Pomeroy some credit if he's able to get through Pruitt and Schroeder with the game-winning runs at second and third. And force a 9th inning, albeit down 8, the game is never over as long as you have a chance. And if he gets Schroeder, they will have a chance in the 9th. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And a fly ball into center field. That should do it. Brett Daly is there. He'll come in about 3 steps, reaches up, and the inning is over. Nothing comes of a strikeout, pass ball, and 2 walks. 3 left. On to the 9th we go in Shawnee. 9-1, Bison of the Bison Sports Network. On to the 9th inning we go, and another left-hander making his home debut is Cameron Poole. It's his 3rd appearance as an OBU hurler, and there you see a good look at Cameron Poole. Cameron earned run average of 13.5, 2 appearances, both in relief, an inning to the 3rd, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 1 strikeout. So we've seen some struggling arms at least through 8 innings today. Pitched very, very well, and that's a good sign going forward for Oklahoma Baptist and the lid lifter this week-long homestand. Bison Athletic Association donors are making a direct and tangible impact on the success of over 450 OBU student-athletes in the classroom, in the community, and in the fields and courts of competition. When you give to the BAA, you are truly invested in champions. Learn more. Sign up today at obubison.com/BAA. And hey, if you're going to the Noble Complex Saturday afternoon for basketball, if you're coming out here for softball or baseball, stop by and see our good friends at JD's Eats. They are in charge of the concessions at all home OBU athletic events this year. They are terrific people. They're locally owned, and they'll do you right. That's JD's Eats.
Number 39, Jay Stewart.
Jay Stewart will lead off. He will bat for Cade Clemens here in the 9th inning against Cameron Poole, who opens with a high fastball, 1 ball, no strikes. Cameron is a native of Lucas, Texas, transfer from Division I McNeese State. An off-speed pitch down the middle for a strike. It's 1-1. Cameron Poole pitched a 1/3 of an inning on February the 17th in Russellville. Gave up 2 earned runs, 1 hit, 1 walk against Arkansas Tech. Pitch is low, 2 balls, 1 strike. Next pitch, downstairs, 3 balls and 1 strike. The last thing you want, Zach, is a laboring pitcher with 3 outs to go in a game that has been firmly in hand for some time. Here's the 3-1 pitch, and he did that. No, correction, it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. So the count was 2-2.
And you're absolutely right. When you think about how this staff is handled today, they've all gotten short, quick bursts to work their stuff and save their arms.
There's a liner into left for a base hit, so a leadoff single here for Jay Stewart in the 9th, and that will bring Ryan Koval to the plate. So Pittsburgh State had 1 hit through 7 innings. That was a scratch infield hit back in the first inning, ironically enough, by Cade Clemens, who Stewart just hit for. They had a one-out solo home run by Connor Locks, and there's another liner over the second baseman Schaefer and into right center field. Stewart's going to make the turn. He will head for third, and there's nobody out there at the quarters. Carson Coffey will be the batter. Coffey had it at bat back in the 7th and bounced out to the first baseman, Dan Pruitt.
Now adding number 9, Carson Coffey.
Todd, in this situation, it wouldn't surprise me to see or the runner at first try to take off, right? Try to take advantage of the base while you have the opportunity and see Koval go for second here.
In comes the pitch, a little high, and it's 1 ball, no strikes. So the problem with Cameron Poole to this point has been he's been behind in the counts, and Pittsburgh State, a good offensive team, has been able to hit him and hit him hard. Here's Poole's 1-0 pitch, outside corner, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. And I can tell you the leash will not be long despite an 8-run lead here in the 9th. There's activity in the Bison bullpen. Here's the 1-1 offering. Breaking ball for a strike, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. You know, it's more than just a cliche in baseball, but the starting pitcher, whether it be in a league series or a midweek game, really sets the tone, and Ryan Turbeville did that today with a good 2 innings of work. Here's Poole's pitch. Swing and a miss. Well, Cameron Poole gets the strikeout, and that's out number 1 here in the 9th. And if they could hold Coffey to first and deduce a ground ball, perhaps they could end this on a double play. Brett Daly, the center fielder, will bat. He is lined out to short, grounded out or popped out to second, and struck out swinging. 9-1, but they're at the quarters for the Gorillas here in the 9th. And the pitch. That's swatted out of play on the first base side for a strike, 0-1 the count. So now you've seen, Zach, the last 2 at-batters. Cameron Poole forcing Pitt State hitters to hit his pitch and not the other way around.
Exactly. He's been dominating the count with the off-speed, and that's the way you want to set it up. If you're an off-speed pitcher, great. Throw it, hit your spots, and then surprise them with speed after that.
0-1 pitch, laid off of it, should have taken a strike, and it's 0-2.
Now this is when you work your slider or your fastball. After you've established the off-speed early in the count, you're up 0-2, make them chase a fastball.
Here's the 0-2 offering, and he does just that. And when the fastball is off speed upstairs, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cameron Poole with that strikeout of Coffey, the previous batter, has his second strikeout, his first since February the 15th. In tight, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. I say since February the 15th, that's, only 8 days ago? I mean, it's not been all that long, less than a week.
And that was a great pitch there, too. That very easily could have gone the other way, painting the left inside corner of the zone.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Outside, and he's gone full again. That February 15th game could have been costly for Cameron Poole of the Bison. OBU won it by a run. Had a 4-1 lead early, but then Poole in his inning of work walked 3 and struck out 1. 3-2 pitch. Hit out of play off to our right. And we'll see another pitch to Brett Daly.
That was great off speed. He put it in the middle of the zone. He was going to force Daly to put the barrel on the ball there, and that's exactly what you need to do when it's a full count. You know, you can either make him chase something close outside the zone and hope he swings, or put it down Broadway.
Here's the 3-2 pitch, and he stays alive. Fought that one off. Fans, make sure you stay up to date on the latest in OBU sports by following us on Facebook at OBU Bison and on Twitter and Instagram at OBU_athletics. Busy time of the year. You want to stay up with all the Bison sports teams. It's crossover season. Winter sports winding down. Spring sports starting to go. And there's ball 4 just low. And the bases are loaded now. And up comes the catcher, Connor Allen. Connor Allen, the senior from Wichita. He's 0 for 1. He flied out to then right fielder. Well, actually, it was Gutierrez, back of the 8th. Raphael came in after 7 innings for Cade Self. He's the only defensive change right now for CC's ball club. Here's the first pitch to Allen. Breaking ball outside corner for a strike. It's 0-1.
And talking about crossover season this week, just at home, we got baseball today, softball tomorrow, stunt on Thursday, and baseball and basketball again this weekend. So it's going to be a busy week here on campus.
1 ball, 1 strike. Bases loaded. 1 out here in the 9th. Bison looking for a ground ball. Strike on the outside quarter. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Come on, Cameron. Let him hit one right at the infield. Let's get out of here. In comes the pitch. Lazy swing and a miss and a big strikeout. So Allen is 0 for 2. And it is up now to T.J. Nichols. T.J. Nichols, a sophomore from Lee's Summit, transfer from Maplewood Community College. This is his first at bat of the afternoon. Lefty versus lefty, and the first pitch from Poole is a swing and a miss.
This is where Poole can really work his off speed. Now, with a lefty, his off speed is going to be working away from Nichols, the lefty, so he can work that left-hand corner of the zone.
Called strike on the inside quarter, and it's 0-2. Nichols is 1 for 7. His only hit, though, was a 3-run home run. So he has a pinch hit for the Dramatics, and he can do it here with the bases loaded at 2 outs. Here's Cameron Poole's pitch. Swing and a miss. Chased it in the dirt. And Shields will step on home plate to end the ball game. So the Bison lead wire to wire in this one and get a 9-1 victory over the preseason number 2 Gorillas of the MIAA. Back for our postgame show after these messages on the Bison Sports Network. Welcome back into Bobby Cox Field in Ford Park of the Oklahoma Baptist campus. A wire-to-wire 9-1 victory today for Oklahoma Baptist over Pittsburgh State, and a much-needed win for OBU coming off that 3-game dreadful weekend trip to Russellville, Arkansas. They snap a 3-game skid in doing so, and they, for at least for the time being, cool off Pittsburgh State, winning 9-1. 9 runs, 10 hits, no errors for OBU. 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error for Pittsburgh State. The winner today is Logan Kimbrell, and the loser will be the starter for Pittsburgh State. That is Jordan Duncan. Final score 9-1. We'll take another break. When we return, hopefully we'll have head coach Chris Cox with us here in the booth as our postgame show continues. Bison a winner today in this midweek home opener from Shawnee, 9-1 over Pittsburgh State on the Bison Sports Network. Back here at Bobby Cox Field in Ford Park, we'll hear from Jaden Schaefer, who made his home debut with a home run today. Also, Chris Cox here with the postgame show. OBU with 2 in the first, or 2 in the second, 2 in the third. They scored 4 in the fifth to really put this game out of reach. Their last run came compliments of Jaden Schaefer's one-out solo home run just inside the left field foul pole. One of 10 hits today for Oklahoma Baptist and one of 3 to go along with a walk for Jaden Schaefer. Again, the winner will be Logan Kimbrough. He was the third of 5 pitchers today by OBU, and the loser for Pittsburgh State will be the starter, Jordan Duncan. Our postgame show continues with interviews from players and coaches after this message on the Bison Sports Network. Back at the Bison Sports Network, there you see the field being prepared after the ball game. 9-1 the final score. Welcome inside the booth. I'm Todd Miller. We're joined by second baseman Jaden Schaefer. And Jaden, you grew up not too far from Bison Hill. You finally had a chance today for real to play on this field, and you had a pretty good day. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank you.
How important was this game after the weekend that you just came off of?
It was big for us to get going, especially conference coming back up Friday. It was good to get back in the win column.
Okay, you have singles in the third and the fifth, and both were leadoff hits. It's really important at the top of the order that you're able to set the table for those guys behind you, isn't it?
Absolutely. Get on base, score runs.
How about the home run? I asked you off air, I said, did you think it was gone? Did you think it was going foul? You said you thought it was the latter.
Absolutely. I thought it was going to push because the way it was going, especially with the wind today.
Overall, you feel good about this team heading into a conference series that you really need to win this weekend?
Absolutely. We're ready to go.
Feel like the offense is starting to round into form a little bit?
Yeah, we needed today. Today was good for the offense.
All right. How do you end up at Bison Hill after a journey from just down the road?
Yes, sir. Did you say how?
Yeah, how'd you end up here, besides being recruited?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Good job, Jaden.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Jaden Schaefer, the second baseman, visiting with us here on the postgame show. We'll pass the headphones to Chris Cox if he's here in the booth. And OBU wins it today by a count of 9-1. Logan Kimbrough will get the win, and Kimbrough is now 1-2 on the season. And here is the head man himself, who improves to 36-13 here in the ballpark that bears his dad's name. Chris, congratulations. You guys needed that one today, didn't you?
Man, thanks, Todd. Glad you're here. We needed you.
Is that what it was?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I'll go to Russellville next time. Let's not make promises we can't keep.
Let's wait another couple years before we go back there.
In all honesty, I thought this team looked a lot like the team you had envisioned. Up and down the lineup, you had guys that contributed, 1 through 9.
No doubt. You know, we talked on Monday after we got back, and just like we talk about processing everything and evaluating everything, there's no question that we haven't played to our capability on any one of the 3 sides of it, pitching, defense, offensively. Just haven't been very good, period. And, that being said, I told the guys we look back there on Saturday in Russellville, and an opportunity to win both those games, and we played, nowhere to the standard of what we should be playing. I go, it's kind of that victory can be nearest and darkest defeat type of deal. And, they exemplified a lot of that today, all 3 sides of it. You get good pitching performances from about four or 5 different guys there, play good defense, and, put some things together offensively against good arms. I thought 2-strike hitting today did some good job. Dan got a couple hits with 2 strikes. Cade Self, big spot. Trey Furry, big spot with 2 strikes, and that's something we've been harping on to be better on. But, just overall better ABs offensively. Still a long way to go, and that's what we talk about. It's going to be a process. But today was definitely a step in the right direction.
You guys obviously needed the win for a lot of reasons going into the Harding series, but I thought today it was perfect from a pitching standpoint. You have guys out there that are talented arms. Turbeville, Kimbrough, just haven't pitched to it. I thought they pitched extremely well today, and Ryan really set the tempo.
He did, absolutely. No, for us to be successful, those guys are going to have to be successful, and that's what we talked about. And they're all guys that have been successful, and you talk about plus stuff, guys that, carry a good attitude with them, no matter who they're facing or anything like that. Like I said, for one reason or another, we just haven't gotten it rolling yet. But today, those guys went out there and towed the rubber, and that's another thing I talked to them about. I haven't run across one of them yet that doesn't want the baseball, and that's a good sign for things moving forward.
Okay, this might be a silly question. I'm going to ask it anyway. How much early in the season has the new rule with the hitters having to be in the box and ready to go affected this team offensively? I'm sure it's affecting everybody around the country because you get into a rhythm your entire career, and then all of a sudden in January they implement rules before the start of the season starts for you guys about 2 weeks later.
Yeah, it's different. As you, if you watch TV at all this weekend, the Division I guys, they struggled with it. It's something we practiced. We knew it was going to be in play, and really hasn't come an issue for us. But you're exactly right. Guys and routines and when they get in the box, not being able to step out of the box. I can speak to that as a hitter myself. It would have taken some adjusting for me to get used to. Overall, I think it's going to be fine. And just like anything else, guys will get used to it. And there is no question that the pace of play has picked up. I mean, it's shaving a bunch off, and guys will make that adjustment as they go. It's just going to take some time.
Harding comes in. You've, for the most part, had their number of the regular season. You beat them last year in the postseason after a tough trip to Searcy. They're going to be well coached. They're going to roll out some really good arms again, I'm sure.
Absolutely. You look at their numbers right now on all sides of it, but the pitching side of things, Dr. Pat does a great job over there. Great friends with him. And, man, it'll be one of the most fundamentally sound clubs we face all year. And like you said, the arms they're going to run out there are going to be really quality stuff. But, hey, from what you saw today, I feel the arms that we'll put out there, I'll take any day against anybody.
And I made mention of this, CC, during the broadcast, that it may be early. That's a huge in-region win. You've got two of them against arguably one of the top teams in the MIAA.
Yeah, picked, I think, second in the preseason poll, year in, year out. Coach Fornelli, those guys are, competing, going to regionals. So, yes, absolutely. And that's why we put this schedule together. Yeah, do I look at myself sometimes and say, hey, that was a pretty good job of you, spending the first 3 weeks on the road and then playing about 4 of the top 5 MIAA teams every midweek game. But, hey, that's what the standard we want to be to. And if we want to go, looking at that large berth in a regional and stuff, we've got to play these people and we got to beat these people.
Good to see you. Congratulations. We'll see you here in a few days for the Harding series.
Man, good to have you back. Yeah, we might have to hold you and get you some better travel arrangements to make sure you're at all the games.
It is good to be back, I can tell you. Nothing makes me happier than a day at the ballpark, CC.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, my
Thank
friend.
you.
Chris Cox visiting with us here on the postgame show. His team wins it 9-1 today over Pittsburgh State. That's going to wrap it up for our coverage here from Bobby Cox Field in Ford Park. Our next broadcast comes your way tomorrow next door from Bison Softball Park as the 11-2 and red-hot Bison softballers will take on Newman for a pair of 7-inning games. We'll have both for you here on the Bison Sports Network. For the final time, our final score, 9-1 Oklahoma Baptist. For Zach Frazier and our BSN crew that's made it possible, I'm Todd Miller. So long from Shawnee.